And plenty more to come. It's time now for Open All Mics on BBC Radio Scotland.
Chance! And it's a goal! Oh, what a goal!
All the action from all the biggest games.
Oh, it's the second goal!
This is Open All Mics from Sports Sound.
From BBC Radio Scotland.
You're listening to Open All Mics on BBC Radio Scotland. We can hear the atmosphere building around the grounds here. No doubt another day of drama ahead. We've had the team news. We've heard from the managers in the 3 top flight games this afternoon. We are covering 4 matches in the Championship. Amy Canavan is at Starks Park. Wraith Rovers against Queen's Park. Good afternoon, Amy.
Afternoon, Kenny. It's an absolute scorcher here at Starks Park. I was listening to Stephen Craigan earlier say how much these conditions kind of dry out these sort of pitches, and I imagine it'll be the same here today. I've been soaked by the sprinklers since coming in. The Wraith groundsman frantically trying to get this surface a little bit slicker. Here's soaping it does, because this has the potential to be a proper cracker of a championship tie. Both have started the season so well. Wraith with a big win in the Fife derby last week at East End Park, while Queen's suffered their first defeat at Firhill against Partick Thistle. Wraith are unchanged, while Thomas Robson is the only swap for Queen's Park at left back. Referee here in Kirkcaldy today is Duncan Williams, and we're just about to kick off.
Thank you to Amy Canavan. Yes, Wraith third in the table. Queen's Park top 3 wins from their opening 4 games. Let's then get to the title favourites. Dundee United at home to high-flying Airdrie. Derek Ferguson is there for us.
Yeah, Kenny, wonderful atmosphere inside Tannadice here today. Bathed in sunshine. The restraining order is in place. Chick Young won't be allowed to get near Rhys McCabe, certainly today. Listen, Chick's been waxing lyrical about them. I'm really looking forward to watching Airdrie. Dundee United, quite rightly so, are the favourites. You look at that squad that Jim Goodwin has at his disposal, so looking really strong. But hearing lots of good things about Airdrie, certainly the style of football. So I think we're going to have an open game and a good away support as well, away to my left hand side. So the Airdrie fans have come up in their numbers, so looking forward to this one. Kenny?
Capello for Chick Young this afternoon. Morton against Partick Thistle. Chick?
I'm glad Derek hasn't heard about the other restraining order. But listen, this match is off to a fire. There's a Thistle player down. We've already played 3 minutes here, Kenny. The pitch is absolutely perfect. Capello's service looks amazing in glorious sunshine. Big crowd inside the ground. Sunshine and Greenock. There's a phrase you don't use every day. And a dramatic start. Thistle have a problem with a player. I'll identify who it is in a second or two. It's actually, I tell you what, it's Big Brian Graham. He's gone down. He's not a happy man about the tackle either. He's going to be okay. That's the main thing. So I think we can promise you electricity at the tail of the bank this afternoon. And yes, Derek, you will be. Is Rhys McCabe back fit and playing?
He's on the bench, Chick. So still trying to find his fitness.
Yeah, no doubt, plenty of goals in the Championship this afternoon.
It's an unchanged Jags team. One switch into the Morton side. Jack Aton goes in to replace Jack Byrne. Brian Graham's furious. I'm not quite sure what happened. He's now having a go at the linesman. I think he wants to calm down a little bit. He's been told to come off because he's a treatment. He needs to settle down. But he started with Morton on the attack.
Fiery start to that game at Capello. Inverness, Cally Thistle at home to Dunfermline this afternoon. Ian Auld is there for us. Good afternoon to you, Ian. It feels already that this could be a big game for Billy Dodds.
Yeah, good afternoon, Kenny. We've just entered September, but already this is a massive game for Cally Thistle and Billy Dodds as well. Bottom of the table and 6 games without a win. Cally are desperate to record their first points of the season. The Cally Jags have new signings, Max Anderson and Morgan Boyce, who signed yesterday on loan from Livingston, in to help them this afternoon. Dunfermline on the back of that Fife derby defeat last weekend. There'll be no pushovers this afternoon though.
Let's then get to Rugby Park. Rory Loy is there for us. Kilmarnock against Ross County. How are both sides shaping up there, Rory?
They both started pretty well, actually. Ross County started the brighter. A couple of long throws from Jack Baldwin causing a little bit of problem in the Kilmarnock box, but they did eventually clear the second one after Simon Murray was sniffing around. Danny Armstrong's just whipped in a corner, which was missed by everyone, and Ross County played at the back post, stuck it out for another corner. So bright start from both sides, but no breakthrough as yet, Kenny. 0-0.
And a bright afternoon through at Livingston. They're at home to St Mirren. Stephen Craigan, no doubt, again, another big travelling support there for Saints.
Yeah, there is, Kenny, and very vocal as well. You know, clearly when the team are doing well and they're pushing towards the top of the table. It's always nice to go away from home with the expectation that your team can get a result. As always it is here at the Tony Macaroni Stadium. You know, it's a frantic start. It's end to end. There's plenty of tackles. There's fouls. The referee Nick Walsh has blew his whistle on a few occasions when the game gets underway. So hopefully it will settle down, and you know, we'll see a good pattern to the game. St Mirren probably started slightly better. Conor McMenamin had a lovely little turn and cross down this right hand side. Shamal George just came and got the hold of it when Greg Kilty from the left hand side almost got in front of him. So St Mirren probably settled the best, but you said a good away support. Pitch is dry, but certainly a competitive game.
Yeah, derby match for you this afternoon. Willie Miller at McDermott Park. Does it have that feel about it in the early stages?
It does, yeah. I mean, there's a good crowd in here this afternoon. It's been quite frantic. The home side have had the better of possession. Not any chances. Couple of goal-mouth incidents, but nothing that was clear-cut in terms of a goal-scoring chance or the goalkeeper having to do any work. You know, but Dundee are now just trying to get a grip of the ball and have an impact in the game. But looking forward to it. It's a good atmosphere here, and the conditions are perfect.
Ange Postecoglou's Spurs are behind early on against Burnley. Lyle Foster with the goal there on 4 minutes in. That was a great start for Ange Postecoglou down in the English Premier League. Well, I just want to get your thoughts as we're discussing, you know, Aberdeen's start to the season, Rangers' start to the season. 119 transfer window signings across the summer, across the 12 Scottish clubs. Obviously, the average is around about 10. Do you think that there's been too much change? Let's focus, say, on the Dons. I mean, how difficult is it to get that squad to gel? We've certainly seen that with Rangers in their European performances.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've just got to work at it, Kenny. Really, you know, Barry Robson hasn't had much time with the players that has been brought in. But the good news is that the board of directors and the chairman in particular is backing them. You know, they're bringing in players with fees attached to them, undisclosed fees, unfortunately. So I can't bring you any kind of a numbers here. But you know what he's then got to look at is gelling them together. I think Aberdeen, there's been some good aspects of their play against Celtic. I think
they've been brilliant from the start. Dundee United. It's Kajou there, just as the ball's played into a wide area, cut back, and there's Kajou. I tell you what, it's a lovely finish as well. Left foot, just finding that right hand corner. What a start. They've come out the traps absolutely flying. Dundee United win here 2-0.
Yeah, they are title favourites, no doubt about that. They're off to a very good start. Speaking of recruitment, well, he looks to have recruited very, very well across the summer, Jim Goodwin.
Yes, indeed, and he probably had to, didn't he? You know, I think there's a lot of pressure on him. Very disappointing start in the League Cup. But, you know, as Jim says, I don't know if I agree with him, he'll not be judged in that, but I'll tell you what, if he can top the table, then it'll soon be forgotten, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, again, you know, the amount of players that are coming into the game here in Scotland, I think it's exciting. You know, he's obviously got them motoring quite early, and I think that my old club maybe haven't just managed to gel as quickly, and they need to gel.
Kenny, what's it pronounced? Sorry, guy, is it Kajou?
Kajou. Matthew Kajou, yeah, we've been saying, yeah.
Kenny, see, talking about transfers, no, the only slight concern for me with the number of transfers you spoke about, only 13 Scottish players transferred between club to club in the top flight. You know, which clearly tells you clubs are looking out with and spending the money elsewhere, where I think you've said continue in this programme. There's good players in the Scottish Premiership, good Scottish players. I just wonder why clubs aren't looking at them.
We had a discussion on Wednesday night for the Rangers game, Stephen. We were talking about Lawrence Shanklin, for example. Why hadn't, say, the Old Firm come in for him?
Oh, sorry, good chance for St Mirren, Kennedy. Could have went ahead. Conor McMenamin, I'd said it earlier in the game, he plays on the right hand side, but he's got a lovely left foot. He cuts back for the second time in the game on his left foot, puts a really tantalising cross into the box. Kiani Bacchus is broke from midfield. He's got a free header about 8 yards from goal. Should do a lot better. Thankfully for Livingston, it drifts wide, but St Mirren should have been ahead, but they aren't. 0-0.
Yeah, well, what about Lawrence Shanklin? Do you think that's a guy that could be playing for one of the big two?
Well, I think certainly domestically, when they're playing against packed defences and, you know, they've more of the ball and they're creating chances. Away from home, I'm not too sure. I mean, I looked at, you know, Lawrence Shanklin the other night in Greece, and looked at Dessers potentially the night before when they were in Eindhoven. And, you know, does he have that taste to get away from players to take them up the pitch when they're maybe playing counter-attacking football? I don't think so. You know, he may not play in Europe as often, but certainly he can get goals.
Yeah, take it away, mate.
Yeah, sorry, Stephen, but yeah, Rafe have been outstanding really in the opening phases and well deserving of the lead inside the opening 7 minutes. It's a great ball down the line. I think Queen's Park were slightly hoping that Sam Stanton might have been offside, but he's just got that pace, whips in a delicious ball, and waiting there is Callum Smith. Of course, he's scored already in the league this season and scored against Hibs as well in the League Cup, and it's just a glancing header. Queen's Park have looked really suspect at the back. It's been a cracking opening 8 minets, and Rafe have the lead 1-0 here at Starks Park.
Kenny early change as well for Airdrie. They've had to take McMaster. He took a little whack right at the start of the game, and they've brought on Gavin Gallagher.
Thanks, Derek.
Just to pick up and back what Willie said, and the reluctance of, in his case, Aberdeen, other clubs as well, to publish transfer fees. This, you know, this is the food and drink of the media and the fans. Players, people go into the bar, have a pint and argue and discuss worthy, you know, transfer fees. Players, was it a bargain? And it used to drive me nuts when players. In fact, I've spoken to managers and I say, what was the fee? And they would say, well, what do you think it was? And I would guess, and they would say, we'll just go with that then. And we used to run newspaper stories on that basis. So you know, it's food and drink. Why would you not?
I think
discuss what a fee was.
I think it might put pressure on the managers. From what I've heard, Aberdeen are spending good money and they've bought players and they've spent, I would imagine, all their transfer fees this summer over £2 million. I'm understanding. So, you know, that if you're spending that kind of money in Aberdeen, you need results. You need to be justifying the reason why you're paying the big fees.
But
do you not think the fans want to hear that, though?
Entertainment. You know, when we need to publicise it and have things to talk about, I think it's totally wrong that fans are not informed about how much.
Listen, I'm not saying it's right, but I'm just trying to give you the reason why I can imagine they're not doing that. Of course, the fans want to know about it.
Yeah.
But then it just puts a wee bit more hype and pressure on the manager, thinking spending all that money, you know, you can't beat them or you've lost that game. So maybe it's just to try and keep it under wraps. I don't know. Protect the manager.
Or Stephen, you did very well to get him for that price. What a bargain! Well done.
but Chick, I suppose the counter to that, Chick, is if Celtic or a club announce a big transfer fee that they've received for a player and they're looking to replace that player, then other clubs know that they can perhaps push Celtic for higher values.
It's called transparency.
Yeah.
Indeed.
You know, I think they've got a duty actually to publish what they're spending and how much they're actually receiving for players. I don't see any reason why not. I'm really surprised that Dave Cormack hasn't done it. He likes his name in the paper. He likes to speak about the game. So, you know, why not be? And he's always on about transparency. You know, and I don't understand why Aberdeen in particular, every time there's a player that brought in, it's an undisclosed fee.
Right, Dave, 5:30, you can call into the programme. We would love to find out. There's plenty we can ask you. And listen, he's very vocal on social media, if that's the right word, but he seems to talk to the fans a lot on there. I'm sure they'd love to hear what the club are spending. A goal coming in. Montrose are 1-0 up away at Queen of the South. Aidan Quinn with that goal on 10 minutes. And
Kenny, it should have been 2 to United. I didn't want to win in that conversation there. It was just a corner kick from the left-hand side. It was a header down, and I think it was maybe Moult or Holt, I'm not too sure, at the back post, just getting a header, but coming off the outside of the bar. But they've come flying out the traps, absolutely dominating this Airdrie side at the moment. United, you know, they've just got the bit between their teeth right now, you know, not giving Airdrie an inch. You know, they're all over them. So real good start from Dundee United.
Brentford 1, Bournemouth 0. Matthias Jensen on 7 minutes.
Oh, that could be. This could be a red card.
Oh, what a goal!
Jackie Tonga's been. He's got a big goal for diving.
Goal for Cali Thistle, Kenny, and it's a howler for Harrison Sharp in the Dunfermline goal. Nathan Shaw with his second goal of the season. A shot from 35 yards. The goalie let it slip under his body, off the post and in. Cali Thistle off on a flyer.
Yeah, my goodness, you need that at the start of the day, bottom of the table. Trick.
Kenny, all sorts of things happening. Jackie Tonga, he certainly was pulled back. Harry Milne, I thought they were going to book Katonga for diving. He's given Morton a free kick right on the edge of the 18-yard box. Morton claiming it was inside the box and it should have been a penalty. Katonga pulled to the ground clearly by Milne. Milne lucky that he's only seen a yellow card. I don't suppose it was a clear goal scoring opportunity, but a chance for Morton to open their scoring here in this game. Free kick at the edge of the box, and I tell you, Harry Milne for me is booked, but he's a little bit lucky not to have seen red.
Amy bringing us that goal. Leanne, Raith Rovers 1, Queen's Park 0. Do you think Rovers could be in with a shout of perhaps running United close if United are the overwhelming favourites?
Yeah, I think they could be up there, no doubt about it. I just wonder if Ian Murray's one of those managers that might throw his name in the hat as well for the Hibs job, whether he would be looked at a former player as well.
Yep.
He's worked his way up the divisions as well.
Oh my goodness! What a goal from that free kick! Robbie Muirhead, he absolutely leathered that beyond the wall. It was hardly more than a foot off the ground into the goalkeeper's right hand corner. What a goal! Robbie Muirhead with the free kick. It's Morton 1, Partick Thistle 0.
Yeah, it sounds a very lively start down there at Capello. We always love the Championship. Leanne Morton ahead there. They've not had a great start to the season.
No, I thought that was a new signing as well, Robbie Muirhead, with that first pronunciation there, Chick. But no, they get a good result, didn't they, in the opening day, and then they fell short the following week. But the job that Dougie Emery does down there is fantastic. You speak about budgets and players and squad sizes and whatnot. He's done a fantastic job since he's come in, and what a player Muirhead's been for him.
Let's get round the grounds and let's get to Rugby Park. Come on, against Ross County. What's happening, Rory?
Not an awful lot, Kenny. It's all blood, guts and thunder, I would say, so far. Ross County have lined up with a 3 at the back, a 3-5-2, the same formation as Kilmarnock, and they have very, very much cancelled each other out. Yandanda did run through and goal, but it's one of those where the linesman lets the play go and the referee does the same, and it's, he's clearly 5 yards offside, much to Derek McInnes's frustration. I mean, there's been a midfield battle at times because there's 5 in there, and there's not been a lot of quality in the game, stray passes and things, but I do feel for the players a little bit. The sun's out, they did heavily water the pitch, but this AstroTurf dries up so quickly. We'll hopefully see an improvement in things, but I spoke to Stephen Robinson a couple of weeks ago, and he said that they played 3-5-2 last year and teams started matching them up and it just became a slog, and that is a great description of this game so far.
Craig Brown has scored a second goal for Montrose. That's on 15 minutes. Queen of the South 0, Montrose 2. Who's in top in the early stages? Livy against St Mirren, Stephen?
Well, I think St Mirren have been more pleasing on the eye, but Richard Taylor's just tried to play a square ball across the pitch. He's been intercepted by Curtis Guthrie, got out of his feet and had a shot over the bar. But Davy Martindale has just asked Jamal George, for the next 10 minutes, go direct. He said, stop trying to play through midfield, stop giving the defenders to build their play. Keep us narrow and try and play up the Guthrie, which means then if he doesn't win the header, Joel Newbley can get close or Scott Pittman can get close. But certainly Conor McMenamin and Greg Kiltley have been playing well. Rory's talking about that change of shape for Stephen Robinson compared to last season, the 3-4-3. At times they've been coming narrow, coming into little pockets of space in front of the back three from Livingston, and struggled to cope with them. Not a lot of goal-mouth action. St Mirren probably more pleasing on the eye, but Livingston certainly very competitive.
Stephen, that'll be go more direct, surely. From David Martindale, rather than for the next 10 minutes.
For some reason they must have played a couple of passes across the back, and the message was stop that immediately, let's play in the opposition's half volley.
What's happening in your game, Willie? Any goal-mouth action there?
One opportunity, Scott Tiffany coming in from the left-hand side. It was a cross-come shot, but it was well dealt with by the goalkeeper. It's end-to-end, nothing much really to report in the penalty box itself, but there's a lot of energy out there, there's a lot of directness. They're trying to play. When I say directness, it's going up the pitch quickly by passing the ball, not by just playing it forward. So there's a lot of energy out there. Both teams looking to get forward as quickly as possible, but not too many goal-mouth incidents. That's why it's still 0-0.
Kenny, we've got a little stoppage here at the moment in the Dundee United end, away to my right-hand side. The first aiders are in. I think somebody's obviously took not well, so the game has been stopped. The players just over in the stand side in the shade at the moment, just getting a little drink of water, get some information. But the first aiders away to my right hand side in the stand, so hopefully everything's okay.
Absolutely. Thank you, Derek, for that. Spurs have equalised. Son with a goal there. Burnley 1, Spurs 1. That goal coming on 60 minutes. Let's get into the Championship. We're covering 4 games for you this afternoon. We just heard from Derek there, Dundee United with the early advantage in that one. Raith Rovers also on top at Starks Park, Amy.
Yeah, they certainly are, Kenny. It's been a very decent game. We're about 16 minutes in now. As much as Queen's Park are behind, they're still really going for that attacking football that we obviously saw last season, and despite the overhaul in the summer, it's certainly managing to continue. Rory Payton up top is certainly trying to get in and amongst the action, but he's just not quite getting the service just as they're running down to the byline here. Nope, nothing coming off it just yet. But Ray, Callum Smith in particular are looking really, really good. Josh Mullen as well, of course, who we know so well from his time last year at Ayr. Leanne covered him plenty in the championship, and he has been a cracking signing. Raith done a lot of good work this transfer window early on as well, and you can see that they're reaping the rewards.
Ken, I've got to say, Andrew Shinney's in a bit of trouble here at Livingston. He's went up to challenge the ball with Keanu Bacchus, and Bacchus has tried to pull out of the ball up in the air, and Andrew Shinney's gambled in the air to go up and head it. I think he's tried to use him as leverage, and because he's felt, he's actually spun right over, done a somersault in the air, and landed in his back and his neck, and the physios were called on within seconds. The St Mirren physios were on, the Livingston physios were on, the doctors on, so you just got the message that he will have to come off the pitch. So maybe if Leanne can get a look at that, she'll maybe see it better. But
yeah, I've seen it in real time. It looked at a real sore one, Craggs, when he went down, and what I found even more alarming was that his players ran to him and have tried to roll him over, and rule one with a spinal injury, which it clearly looks like it could potentially be, is you don't move the casualty. And his players
he was probably unconscious. Leanne, I don't know.
No, I know, but it's just the way he's come down. But yeah, let's hope he gets up and certainly can leave the field. But I'll look for. I don't think there was much in it though, Craggs. I would need to say. I think as you say, it's two players coming together, look to try and use a bit of leverage.
Because Nick Walsh gave a free kick, and Keanu Bacchus couldn't understand why. Because you know he had moved out of the way, and because he had committed to going in the air, that's what made him, I think, spin over. Thankfully, it looks as if he's moving. They're moving him about. So fingers crossed he's okay.
Yeah, there was once like it the other night.
Sorry, Leanne. So just in forced change here as well because of injury. Sorry for interrupting you there, but Robbie Crawford, his afternoon is over already. He took a knock earlier on, tried to play on. It's not happening for him. Ian Wilson's coming on for Robbie Crawford. Sorry, Leanne.
No, you're fine, Chick. I think it was Sadiq that went down heavily in the Aberdeen game, and it was a real sore one. He leapt up 2 feet at a great height. I'm not sure if it was Devlin that maybe came underneath him, and he bounced up straight away to protest the challenge, and then realised, I think, how much pain he was actually in. Yeah, because he looked as if the wind had been taken right out of his sails, Rory. It was horrible looking.
It wasn't nice. I do agree with you. I mean, I don't think Devlin does a lot wrong. He just stands his ground, but Sadiq leaps so high in the air, and like you said, the way he falls it looks pretty sore. I've just been waiting all day on Chick championing Rhys McCabe for the Hibs job. I thought he might have put his name in there because
he's
I
been
know
mentioned,
Chick's a
Rory.
huge fan.
Can I throw one in?
How about Rhys McCabe for the Hibs job?
How does nobody mention Stuart Kettlewell?
After you leave Stuart at Motherwell.
No.
Come on, leave him alone. Let's take one of the bigger ones.
Look at the job he's done when he went in there.
I think longevity, maybe. Derek.
Yeah. I think it was what Leanne said. I thought Ian Murray was a good shout.
Yeah, I think he'll throw his name in the hat, Chick. I would be surprised if he doesn't ask the question. Craggs, I've just had another look at that, and see, to be fair, Bacchus has probably been cute. I don't think he means to cause Shinnie the problems that he's caused him in the way he's come down, but he doesn't really challenge for the ball. He almost just knows that Shinnie's up there and kind of leans into him at hip height, so he kind of takes the legs away from Shinnie, and he comes down heavy right onto the top of his torso, and he's kind of shoulder and collarbone, probably, I would say.
The spinal board's now on, so clearly there's some issue with his back.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of people working around about him.
Yeah, let's hope he is okay. That looks like a serious injury there in that game. I'll go through the scores for you. Kilmarnock 0, Ross County 0, Livingston 0, St Mirren 0, St Johnstone 0, Dundee 0. In the Championship this afternoon, Arbroath 0, Ayr United 0, Dundee United 1, Airdrie 0, Inverness Cally Thistle 1, Dunfermline 0, Morton 1, Partick Thistle 0, Wraith Rovers 1, Queen's Park 0. In League 1 this afternoon, Alloa 0, Cove Rangers 0, Edinburgh City 0, Falkirk 0, Kelty Hearts 0, Annan Athletic 0, Queen of the South 0, Montrose 2, Stirling Albion 0, Hamilton Accies 0. In League 2, all the games are goalless. Bonnyrigg Rose against Elgin City, Clyde Forfar, Dumbarton East Fife, Spartans against Stenhousemuir, and Stranraer against Peterhead in England. The lunchtime kick-off, Sheffield United 2, Everton 2, Brentford 1, Bournemouth 0, Burnley 1, Tottenham Hotspur 1, Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 0, Manchester City 0, Fulham 0, and the 5:30 kick-off, Brighton against Newcastle United. Just speaking of Stuart Kettlewell, whose name was mentioned there, let's get some suggestions in. He's picking the music for the 5:30. So you've got a smile on your face, Liam. What sort of music do you think Stuart Kettlewell's going to be into?
I think he could have a bit of heavy metal in there.
Do you think so?
Do you know what, Leanne? I was going to say heavy metal for some reason.
I don't know why.
Western or something, I don't know.
It probably will be more like it. I'll definitely tune in to hear though once I leave the studio.
I think he's a deep soul man. Deep soul funk. I can just see him.
What would you choose, Derek, if you had three songs?
Well, I mean, then you think about it in the past. I mean, I would pick one of the Wet 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 songs. Certainly the early days, I used to go and watch them. Was in Glasgow Green actually. We got behind the scenes, me and Gerante, before the gig, which was absolutely amazing. You get past all the sections where the guys are the clarinets, and the other guys have got the other things, and then you go to where the Wets were, Marty Pell and that, and Clark, the gang. They're just sitting having a few beers, just chilling out. Just absolutely amazing. So it was, and what a night that was in Glasgow Green.
I can imagine. Chick, you're the only person in the programme that have chosen the music. Is that right?
I'm the only person that has chosen it. Yes,
you chose the music. The Beach Boys. And who else was it? He chose three songs for us.
Yeah, Beach Boys, a bit of Motown, I think, was that one. And I have a very wide. The Beach Boys are forever in my thoughts, but beyond that, a very wide-ranging choice of music. Depends on the mood I'm in, Kenny. I can be very moody.
Exactly, Chick. And I'm thinking, maybe a wee Tina Turner might be in there.
For Chick.
You're allowed to play songs that have nothing to do with Rangers, Derek.
Love how he says maybe.
We have a goal of both 1-0 up against Ayr United. Jay Bird with that goal on 21 minutes. So that's Shinnie just coming off now, Stephen Craigan.
Yes, indeed, Kenny. All the home fans and the away fans are applauding him as he's gone off. They're actually taking him across the opposite side of the pitch. I'm guessing the ambulance must be parked over that side, or it's easier to get out from there. But certainly he's getting wheeled across the pitch. He looks as if he's well protected. He's got the spinal board, he's got the neck brace, everything's on round about him. So fingers crossed that we'll get some news in the coming towards half time. It'll be Bran will have a look at that he will be okay. Fingers crossed.
Let's hope. So what's happening at Rugby Park, Rory Lloyd? These two cancelling each other out?
Yes, that's the only way I can think to describe it at the moment. It's going to be a mistake or a lapse in concentration or a moment of real quality that opens this game up, because you've got Turner, Randall, Brown and Reid coming in times in there. You've got Watson, Lyons, McGuinness, Davies, Armstrong all in the midfield area, and it really is. The ball's changing hands continuously. There's no real quality to it. I don't know if Derek McInnes maybe expected Malky Mackay to come down and do this, but there's real frustration on the touchline from Derek McInnes. But there's not a lot of quality on show because they are matched up, and they're finding it really, really difficult to move the ball on this surface as well. So not great for the neutral.
Much more quality on show at McDermott Park. Willie Miller, St Johnstone against Dundee.
It's decent. I wouldn't say it was top drawer. I think there's a lot of energy out there. They're trying to pass the ball. There's very little opportunities. Couple for Scott Tiffany, who looks the one that has got that something special in the opposition area to perhaps break this deadlock. But no, it can be better. I don't think we should be surprised, with a newly promoted side and a team that started the season so poorly, that it hasn't been on fire as yet. But I live in hope.
That's us just about to get underway. Thankfully, it looks as if it's a young lady. She's just passing a kind of a wheelchair with the first aiders all around her, so she looks fine. The game has been started. I don't know, that must be about 10 minutes now. The referee's been over at both managers, so we are now about to get underway.
In terms of what you've seen there this afternoon from United, Derek, were they championship favourites for you?
Well, as I said, I was looking forward to having a look at Airdrie because of the football that I'm hearing that they're playing. But United have just dominated right from the off. They've got after them, they've got forward as quick as possible. And the goal was real quality, Middleton just laying it off, and Kajol just with that finish. And, he didn't thrash at it, just picked his spot, just curled it away into that far corner. But, yeah, they look a good outfit. And they've got a big following here this afternoon at Tannadice. And they've got to make this a fortress, a place that teams will fear. And certainly at the moment, as we get back underway, they look as if they are the title favourites on this showing that I'm seeing so far.
Stephen Craigan, we're talking about the transfer window this summer. 119 signings in the top flight in Scotland. Your eye was focused on a signing that was made elsewhere, quite an interesting one.
Yeah, it was just, I only caught it this morning. Andrew Irvine, who was previously at Hearts, I mean, for some reason I thought he was in the late 20s. He's only 23 years of age, but he's moved to West Ham. West Ham have bought him, but they've loaned him back to the club they've bought him from, Klagenfurt in Austria. So, I mean, it's just a remarkable piece of business, you know, but it's good to see young players going abroad and testing themselves in a different league. Of course, Derek knows it well with Lewis going away. So certainly, I'm sure it's something that other players will look at in the future.
And United just hit the post there. Wonderful ball from Grimshaw, just coming in for the left-hand side, right-footed, just, you know, curling away to that back post area, and Moult doesn't go for power, just a little glancing header, just comes off the left-hand post. So, as I say, Kenny, you know, they're looking really good at the moment, and unlucky not to be at least 2 ahead.
Stranraer are 1-0 up on Peterhead. Thomas Orr with a goal there on 26 minutes. Wraith Rovers ahead against Queen's Park at Starks Park. Amy Canavan, what's happening?
It's just been all Wraith in the last few minutes. Jack Hamilton's had a shot at goal. Josh Mullen has as well. And then there was the captain, Scott Brown, coming up from a corner, manages to get his head on it. Callan McKenna, in the Queen's Park goal. He's gained a lot of attraction recently. I think he's had a solid start to the season, but he's been called into a hell of a lot of action so far this afternoon. He's had to sprawl quite wide, but Wraith, just the front line, they really are a joy to watch, and they're causing this Queen's Park defence a really, really tough time.
No shortage of action for you this afternoon at Capello, Chick Young.
I was just thinking that long road home from Peterhead from Stranraer. You mentioned that. It's a long journey, isn't it? It's certainly a bit more of a local, well, it's not quite a derby, but Thistle down the road at Greenock this afternoon. It's a smashing first half, Kenny, and it's a glorious sight of a big Thistle support, all sitting in the wee Dublin end at Capello. Of course, there's no roof on that. People usually get soaked there, and they're sitting sunbathing, which is just a fantastic concept of this neck of the woods. They're getting entertained by a good football match as well. It's 1-0 to Morton at the moment. That fantastic 14-minute strike from Muirhead from the free kick. Brilliant goal.
Check. Sunbathing in Capello. What a thought. I've never experienced it in the whole playing days. But there you go.
No, but you got a few soakings here for Big Andy Ritchie back in your day.
No, you're right. Yeah, absolutely.
We United was last season, wasn't it, Willie? We United, yourself and Big Andy. Some good stories were shared that day.
It was, yeah, it was. It was good to catch up with Andy again. What a fabulous player he was. I couldn't see that, or I couldn't admit to that at the time, but as years go by, you realise how talented he was.
Yeah, it was great to actually hear.
He used to come out. Well, at Capello, and there was a just as you come out the tunnel in the halfway
line, he had a fag before he came out.
Bath. A big, boy, he did actually. Got a big mud bath there. Do you remember? The rest of the ground pitch wasn't too bad, but it was a big area.
Yeah.
As you come out the tunnel. Great times.
Yeah, you worked with him a couple of weeks ago, didn't you, Leanne, at the Morton? He's a real legend for these Morton fans, the game at Ibrox.
Yeah, brilliant. Couldn't get a word in edgeways, to be fair for him. I think he enjoyed his day at Ibrox, and it was lovely to meet him as well. I've heard loads about him, so no, it was a good day at work.
Alfredo Aguiman has given Falkirk the lead away at Edinburgh City. That's on 29 minutes. So the latest scores: no goals in the 3 top flight matches this afternoon. Kilmarnock 0, Ross County 0, Livingston 0, St Mirren 0. There was that delay there for that Shinnie interview. Injury. St Johnstone 0, Dundee 0. Don't forget 3 games in the top flight tomorrow. All the coverage on sports, and we get underway at 11:30. Rangers against Celtic, Aberdeen Hibs, Hearts against Motherwell. In the Championship this afternoon, all the home sides are leading by 1-0. Arbroath against Ayr United, Dundee United against Airdrie, Inverness Cally Thistle against Dunfermline, Morton against Partick Thistle, Wraith Rovers against Queen's Park. In League One, Alloa 0, Cove Rangers 0, Edinburgh City 0, Falkirk 1, Kelty Hearts 0, and Athletic 0. Queen of the South 0, Montrose 2, Stirling Albion 0. Hamilton Accies have just gone ahead in that game. Also Manchester City have gone ahead. Alvarez with a goal on 31 minutes. City 1, Fulham 0. Bournemouth have equalised away at Brentford. Dominic Solanke on 30 minutes. Ewan Henderson with that goal for Accies. 1-0 up away at Stirling Albion. In League 2, Burnley Rose 0, Elgin City 0, Clyde 0, Forfar 0, Dumbarton 0, East Fife 0, Spartans 0, Stenhousemuir 0, Stranraer 1, Peterhead 0. And in England, full-time scores: Sheffield United 2, Everton 2, Brentford 1, Bournemouth 1, Burnley 1, Spurs 1, Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 0, and Manchester City 1, Fulham 0. That's you right up to date with all the latest scorelines. We're crying out for a goal, Rory Loy, in the top flight. Any sign at Rugby Park?
No, there's not. There has been a first booking.
Sorry, I'm going to have to interrupt you, Rory. We've got a red card here at Starks Park. William Tizard has been sent off. Jack Hamilton had spun him. It was in the centre circle, really, but that's just how open that this Queen's Park defence has been. Wraith have just been so good, really, coming forward in quick succession. He tries to obviously tug him back. Charlie Fox was potentially going to be supporting, but the referee, after a little bit of hesitation, has sent William Tizard off. Queen's Park down to 10 men in the defence as well. No doubt a substitution is going to have to be made because this Wraith Rovers front line are running rampant.
Yeah, really uphill task there for Queen's Park. They won their opening 3 games. They lost last weekend. They look as if they could go down again this afternoon. They are down to 10 men. Connor Salmon has given Alloa the lead at home to Cove Rangers. That goal on 33 minutes. It's quiet so far this afternoon, Leanne, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's too quiet. I fear the worst, because no doubt when we see the injury time getting added on and we get into the second half, it's going to be chaos.
Yeah.
As it always is on a Saturday. We know that will tempt fate, and there'll be nothing surer than it sparks into life. But no, I'm looking at the 2 games on the screen, both on the synthetic surfaces as well, and you know, they get the feedback for the guys out of the games as well, is that it's difficult to move the ball on these types of surfaces, and it's no surprise that there's no breakthrough, because the majority of the sides that we're looking at actually like to move the ball. St Mirren like to play it now, and they've got a bit about them, but it's not really suiting them, I would need to say.
I actually feel sorry for the players out here, Leanne, because they're trying their best. There's plenty of endeavour and effort, and they're trying their best to play the way their managers want them to play, but it is so difficult. And it's not just the pitch, it's just, and I'll say it again, it's the way the 2 teams have matched up. They're identical, and they're just ruling each other out, and it's becoming very, very difficult because a lot of the players on the pitch are of a similar standard, so nobody's taking on their direct opponent and having a good time of it. It's all very even, and like I said, I actually feel for the players out there and the 2 managers, because they're trying their best to get the game going, but they're just...
Why don't they change it? Why do they change it, the managers?
Well, if you work on something all week, Kenny, and Derek McInnes has played this formation since the start of the season. I don't know too much about Ross County's previous formations, given I've not been at any of their games so far, but Kilmarnock have played this since day one. They've worked on it all week. They'll have done analysis on it, hours and hours and hours of time spent on it. You can't just go after 30 minutes, they're playing the same system, we'll just change our whole... it takes a lot of time to work on these things. I think people underestimate, to be honest, just how much work it takes to change shape. It takes a good few weeks of proper work.
It's a chance, it's a goal! It's a goal for Dundee. It's a free kick. I think it's Bakayoko who gets the final touch. It was a free kick, and it was clipped into the back post. The big striker comes in, he plays it across the face of the goal. Didn't go in with any great power, I must admit, but it ended up in the back of the net. And it is indeed Bakayoko that puts Dundee in the lead. They deserve it. They've had the better opportunities, Scott Tiffany in particular, and they go 1-0 up here at McDermott.
Yeah, I'm just going to wait for the replay, Willie. It's going to come through now, but I would agree at first viewing, it certainly didn't look like it went in with any real power. Bakayoko, I think he wins a knockdown, doesn't he, right away, and it actually just evades. I think St Johnstone are almost anticipating another touch, or players are looking at each other to go and deal with it. Bounces right in front of the goalkeeper. It's poor defensively. It's poor, because I don't think he's trying to score. I think he's trying to put it back into just that danger zone, and it goes all the way into the back of the net. Just
dribbles over the line, really, doesn't it? It's not really much power in it. I think, we haven't restarted, so there must be...
Yeah, they'll be checking it anyway. Potential offside, perhaps, just with the delivery. It's difficult to see.
Yeah, it looks like our first goal in the top flight. Fulham have equalised away at Man City. Tim Ream on 33 minutes. Stranraer have doubled their advantage against Peterhead. Kyle Fleming with a second goal there. And still we wait, Willie Miller, to confirmation of that goal there at McDermott Park.
We do, yes. We're hanging on. As I said, it was a free kick. It was clipped towards the back post, left-hand side. And then it was slotted in by Bakayoko, the Dundee striker. I think, as Leanne said, it must be questioned whether it was offside, whether any of the Dundee
it's a penalty. It's a penalty. It's a penalty to Ross County, and it's Simon Murray who's gone down under the challenge of, it looks to me like it's Stuart Finlay. I have to say, I think he gets the ball. The question is, does he go through Simon Murray to get to the ball and wipe him out first? Leanne, one to have a look at.
That's a goal.
Yes, Jack.
We've got a goal. It's an equaliser for Partick Thistle. Morton caught flat. They thought Brian Graham was in offside position. He was, but he didn't attempt to review the play. Stevie Lawless on the ball, goes through, 1-1 with the goalkeeper, pokes it beyond him, and Thistle are level. Stevie Lawless scorer.
Doesn't look like a penalty to me, Rory.
No,
I'd need to say.
He gets the ball. I just wasn't sure if he went through the back of Simon Murray to get it. That was my only thinking.
And it's a goal here. It's Dundee in the lead.
Fantastic. That could be a big week for Tony Docherty, getting his first win last weekend at home to Hearts, and ahead now in the derby against St Johnstone. Leanne, you having another look at that?
Yeah, it doesn't look like a penalty. I've seen it again, unless I'm completely getting it wrong and there's another angle that's going to prove me
it didn't
wrong.
In real time look like a penalty either.
Looks like he stabbed his toe at it and wins the ball. I think Simon Murray recognises he's perhaps hesitated. Might be the slightest of contact after the ball's been played, but I certainly don't think it's a penalty.
Yeah, big moment just before the
Dallas
break.
Is on the bench, so maybe we could get a word. He could go to the VAR screen.
No, it's not. I've just seen it from another angle.
Anyway, so I expect him to come across the screen and have another look.
Yeah, you would hope so, but we've seen previous from Kevin Clancy where he goes to the screen and sticks.
Here he comes. He's off to the screen. Simon Murray's got his hands up as if to say, surely a penalty. And Stuart Finlay saying the opposite. But like I said, Leanne, called it on the replays, and at the time, you could see he got the ball, Stuart Finlay. It's just that, did he go through the man to get the ball? Popped him to the edge of the box. He's trying to turn Finlay. Finlay gets there first, it looks like to me. Well, he's not taking long. No penalty. No penalty.
Yeah, right
I'd
decision to
actually
see the
booked
replay.
Simon Murray for diving, to be honest. But
Would you?
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye, there's no contact there whatsoever. Simon Murray's waited that long for the ball to come to him and realises that he's not got there, and he's thought, you know what, I'll just hit the deck and hope for the best. It's the furthest thing from a penalty we'll see today.
Hamilton Accies now 2-0 up away at Stirling Albion. Kevin O'Hara on 38 minutes. What's happening in your game, Stephen Craigan?
Well, very much the same as what's happening down at Rugby Park. Plenty of effort, plenty of endeavour. But the pitch, listen, everybody that comes here talks about it. Anytime I've watched the game here, there's a complete lack of fluency in the game. The players are having to concentrate to get the ball under control. There's ball on about, it's bouncing. It's hard to get real rhythm and speed into the tempo of the game. So what happens then is everyone tends to miss out the short passes and start to go longer. So it's a game of back to front. St Mirren are trying to play at times, Livingston trying to play, but it is very difficult, and it's two teams like at Rugby Park are evenly matched, and you're just looking for someone to produce a little bit of magic, whether it's a strike or a shot from distance or a dribble. But so far we haven't had that, and it's 0-0. There will be 8 minutes. I think Andrew Shinnie was down for 8 minutes, so we'll be deep into this first half before we're finished.
Leanne, I'm getting on some of the feeds that it was Tiffany's goal. Is there any chance of Tiffany getting a touch on that?
That's what's come up in the wires, Willie.
Yeah.
That's come up in the wires. Tiffany on 35 minutes.
Yeah, I'd need to say that in the screen that I'm seeing in the studio, Willie, it's not great, if I'm being honest. And the camera angle that we got was kind of zoomed out, almost showing us the full picture of the ball coming into the box. But I'll keep an eye out, maybe at half time it'll show it from a different angle as well, and I'll double check the social media posts, because they're normally quite good as well.
What another chance. Sorry, one other chance, Kenny, for Thistle. Steve Wallace, a good old-fashioned wing play, brilliant, hugs the touchline, goes to the byline, beats 2 or 3 players, cuts it back, and it's a real chance for Ben Stanway coming in. I think it was just a fluke on the end of from Morton's perspective. A chance at the other end. Should have been maybe 2-1 for Thistle. It's one each at the moment, and this is a cracking football match.
Dundee Twitter feed, they've got it as Bakayoko. The goal.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing, Willie.
Feeds?
Because he's up to speed now.
I'm your modern man. I'm your modern day man. Come on, get with it.
I hold you up as an example of a modern day man every day.
He's actually Jane.
You're across Twitter, are you not? You have a wee look now and again, don't you?
I have a wee look now and again, yes, that's always it.
Bonnyrigg Rose 1, Elgin City 0. Neil Martinuke with a goal there from the penalty spot on 40 minutes. So as we approach half-time, anything at all from the home side, Willie Miller there in terms of fighting their way back into this game?
Very little. It's not surprising that they haven't scored a goal yet this season in the league. It's been a poor performance from them. It's been very inept. It's been Dundee that's made most of the run-in, created all of the chances, and you know, St Johnstone really struggling to create anything. I mean, they've been in the game, they've had, you know, a good enough amount of the ball, but created nothing.
Yeah, disappointing for them after that very, very good performance, you would have to say, last weekend at Celtic Park. It was absolutely terrific. Backs to the wall. They actually had a couple of chances as well in that game. Chance there?
Yeah, we had a chance at Livingston. Conor McMenamin again. It's the third time in the game he's chopped back onto his left foot and put a tantalising ball to the back post. This time it was Greg Kiltie who got in round the back of DeLucas. He heads the ball into the ground. Shamal George makes a save initially. I think Kiltie tries to follow it up and George gets it away. But once again, it's Conor McMenamin at the heart of it for St Mirren, but they can't get the breakthrough.
Another chance here for Dundee. Scott Tiffany has been very impressive down the left hand side, showing a clean pair of heels to the St Johnstone defenders. It's a really tight angle, you know, and it is well saved by Carson in goal. One that you'd expect him to make, but at the same time, another opportunity for Dundee.
Stephen, we spoke before the game about Joel Newbley. Anything at all from him this afternoon?
Well, based on this performance, his valuation is dropping by the second, Kenny. David will be lucky to get 100 quid for him in this performance this afternoon. To be honest, he hasn't had much of the ball. You know, he is standing along this left-hand side. Because Livingston are going direct to Curtis Guthrie, they're not playing into defeated Newbley, so it's probably not suiting him at this moment in time. There's no doubt he's got talent, the boy. Absolutely he's got talent, but this afternoon he's been reasonably quiet.
Bonnyrigg Rose 2, Elgin City 0. Josh Gregor with a second there on 43 minutes. What's happening at Tannadice there at Ferguson?
Dundee United just controlling the game, just boys. As if they're just enjoying themselves at the moment. I was expecting Airdrie, you know, with a high press, that they're sitting off, allowing Dundee United to build up their attacks. They've already hit the post, I think it was once or twice as well, you know, but just in possession of the ball, they look very comfortable. There's been one opportunity for Airdrie, and it was a kind of half chance. It was just a ball that bounced about 30 yards out, and it was Gallagher trying a lob, but that's been it. They've not created anything, and just at the moment, United just a slow build up of play, just able to knock it about. Airdrie not getting in their faces, and you know, it's either that or they're just showing their class this afternoon. You know, they know that they're going up against a good footballing side, and they've showed that they are probably, what I'm witnessing at the moment, Kenny, is that they're a level above Airdrie.
Great ball from Danny Armstrong there. Finally a little bit of action. Lovely whipped ball in, and it's actually young David Watson who's arriving at the back stick. I think it just hits off him more than anything. Don't know how much contact he gets on it. Easy enough save for Laidlaw, but I thought I would report it since it was a shot on target.
No, we'll certainly take that this afternoon. Half-time Clyde 0, Forfar 0. Inverness, Cali Thistle worthy of the lead there against Dunfermline, Eanold.
Yeah, Kenny, what a difference a goal makes. That goal from Nathan Shaw in 11 minutes. Cali Thistle have had a bit more confidence than they've had this season, and they've bossed this one. A couple of chances through Charlie Gilmore from long range, but what a difference Morgan Boys and Max Anderson have made. Both have signed this week, both on loan from Dundee and Livingston respectively, and Cali Thistle looking good for the lead at the moment.
Stirling Albion back in it against Hamilton Accies. Josh Cooper with a goal there just before the break. Albion 1, Hamilton Accies 2. Let's then go to Amy. Wraith Rovers against Queen's Park. A real uphill struggle now for Queen's, Amy.
You would think so, Kenny. They've actually looked not too bad since going down to 10. They've managed to regain their shape a little bit. Jack Thompson has sort of dropped in alongside Charlie Fox at centre half. He's just on the ball right now, actually. And we're just edging towards half-time. I think the only thing that really will disappoint Ian Murray is that his side don't have more to show for their sheer dominance in this game. Only having one goal advantage is you know, is always a precarious position, but they really have been well on top here. And as I say, we're just edging towards half-time. I think the whistle will go any second now.
Yeah, it's certainly.
It's half-time at Capello, Kenny. It's half-time, and it's Thistle. It's Morton 1, Thistle 1.
Thank you to Chick Young. Half-time a fair bit off for you. Stephen Craig and Livingston against St Mirren. What's been the problem in the first half? Are you putting a lot of this down to the surface, or lack of quality, or teams cancelling each other out?
Well, first of all, I'll say there's going to be 9 minutes added on. We're just about a minute into that. You know, and I'm not being critical of the players, because I don't think it's the lack of quality. It's just the fact of trying to get the ball under control. You know, when the ball bouncing about and bobbing about, and it's sticky, and they're making passes and it's slowing up. It's just not the normal flow what you get in grass on a nice slick surface. So the work ever so hard to trying to produce the quality, but sometimes I think the surface just holds them up, and you know, it's a type of pitch you don't want to be chasing the game on. You don't want to be going behind and trying to force the issue, because the opposition just sit in, condense the space and go and defend cross ball. So the first goal in this game could be crucial if it is to be a goal.
Half time at Starks Park, sorry, 1-0.
Yeah, should have been a leveller for Airdrie United, you know, holding the line. I mean, I'm here the stand side. It was Scott McMahon, you know, the other three defenders are a good 5-6 yards ahead of him. He's just sitting in there, I think a little bit lazy in my opinion. You know, just a straight ball over the top. Lewis McGregor in and goal, puts it past.
Half-time, Kenny, Cali Thistle 1, Dunfermline 0.
Thank you. Also half-time, Spartans 0, Stenhousemuir 0, Edinburgh City 0, Falkirk 1 and Dumbarton 0, East 5-0. Still playing in your game at Dermot Park, Willie?
We are, yes, still playing.
Leanne, have a wee look at this. Sorry, Willie. It looks like Simon Murray's foot's very high. Whether the defender leans down into him, I don't know. He's got booked for it.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. I've just caught it there as you spoke, Rory. I think his boots on the way up, but I think that, is it Lewis Mayo? Yeah. I think he's in the way down as well. I would need to see another replay just now. Boots quite
looks
high.
Like that his studs shown.
Bit of both. Probably the right decision though. Just the fact that his studs are shown, as you say. Yeah, defenders kind of leaned into it though. A tricky one those, because as you say, you don't want to see players in danger. They're running the risk, but Mayo's put his head in there as well, I would need to say.
Yeah,
certainly not above shoulder. It's not above shoulder height or anything like that. I would still say it's below shoulder height. Yeah.
We did have 5 minutes added on here, Kenny.
Half time at McDermott, and it's St Johnstone 0, Dundee 1.
Thank you to Willie Miller. Still waiting for confirmation of that goal. Sitting on the BBC website, it's still showing as Tiffany to see if he got a touch. We've just not had a good, it's a small screen in here, we've not had a good second look at that one. The half times continue to come in. Ayr United have equalised right in the stroke of half time away at Arbroath, and that goal coming from Akeem just on the 48th minute. Akeem Rose with the goal there. Arbroath 1, Ayr United 1. We're waiting on all the half-time score lines coming in. Brentford 1, Bournemouth 1. Bournemouth and ahead in that game. Brentford equalising. I thought I saw a goal come in for Ange Postecoglou's Spurs side. Christian Romero with a goal there. They were behind. Spurs 2-1 ahead. What a start it has been for the former Celtic manager to his career down there in England. It's been a disappointing first half, hasn't it, Leanne? It's been...
Yeah, it has. I was just going to ask you there, Kenny, on Ange Postecoglou, if you or any of the guys seen the interview that they were asking him about the Robbie Williams song that had been made about him.
No, I didn't see that.
Hilarious.
Was it good?
Oh, he's got the reporter on toast. He's unbelievable, honestly. He's basically saying to him, like, the incredible managers that have been there over the years, really successful, but they've not had a song made about them, and he's just like, oh, what a way to make a guy feel good, you know. But they don't know how to take him.
The actual song is brilliant, Leanne.
Yeah, no, it's excellent. And then they ask him if he knows who Robbie Williams is, and he's like, where do you think I've been living, mate?
That's half time at Kilmarnock. It's 0-0, Kenny.
Thanks, sorry. His one-liners and his responses are excellent.
I did see an interview he did after the game last weekend. He was sitting with Peter Crouch, and he was just really, really good, giving a great insight into the game. A really good character, no doubt at all. He's a big loss to Scottish football. Celtic in action tomorrow away at Rangers. Full coverage on Sports, and we're on air from 11:30. We've also got Aberdeen against Hibs. That's a big game. Hearts against Motherwell. So 2 games still playing. Derek, you've obviously got a bit of a delay. There was a concern for a fan there. Everything looks to be okay, we hope, but you're saying almost a shock for the home fans. Neil, an equaliser.
Yeah, it's if they've just kind of took their foot off the gas a little bit. It's became a little bit too easy. I mean, I was told that this was at an Airdrie side that, you know, would play out from the back. They've deployed a different tactic. Certainly the last 10 minutes, they're just going from back to front, and it's starting to cause United a few problems. And Lewis McGregor, he was just at the angle, kind of left-hand side of the box, and, you know, just puts it wide. But just warning signs for Dundee United. You know, they've got to keep their focus, keep their standards up. You know. And they should go in at the half time, you know, with a lead. You know, they're so unlucky not to be 2 up, but just warning signs for them that, you know, Airdrie, you can't take your foot off the gas, or they might get themselves back into this game.
Is that another injury for you in your game, Stephen?
Yeah, we're 6 minutes into injury time, and there may be injury time on the injury time, I would imagine, by the time. So I think you may The second half may have started somewhere else by the time we get to our second half, but listen, we'll get on with it. But it's
I
just
think the
interesting
5:30 segment of the show, Craigs, might have started by the time your game finishes.
Again, I know you're talking about transfer windows and you're talking about finances and budgets. I was listening to the radio somewhere today about Sheffield United, and there was a comment made that, you know, they haven't invested an awful lot for a team coming up. They're going to struggle. They've only spent £64 million. And I was like, wow, you know, that's the levels you're working with when you're talking about Aston Villa and Hibs and the disparity between Premier League and Premiership up here. So for 64 million is not an awful lot of money to spend. I'm sure there's a few clubs up here would like a little slice of that.
No doubt at all about that. Just seeing an email coming in to me here. We chatted earlier on about what Stuart Kettlewell, he's choosing the music in the 5:30 slot. Just having a wee look over it. I think I actually only know two of them, so it looks to be good selections from the Motherwell manager. We'll hear them at 5:30. Fans of various clubs going to come on, Leanne, and give their thoughts. I'm just looking through the games today. St Johnstone fans, interesting to hear from them. Great hope with that terrific performance at Celtic Park last weekend, but losing today, and it's a derby match.
Yeah, it is, and it's a poor goal that they've conceded from as well, off a set piece. They don't get the first contact and they don't deal with the ball that drops inside the 6-yard box effectively. So I'm sure, you know, Stephen McLean will be disappointed when he looks back, that considering how many compliments we threw their way with how they defended at Celtic Park last week. So not good enough in the first half, still searching for that Premiership goal, first Premiership goal of the season as well. But credit to Dundee, again they're looking to back up last week's performance and have managed to get their noses in front as well this afternoon, and I'm sure they'll look to add to that in the second half.
Yeah, a very good start, you'd have to say, for Tony Docherty, having left the partnership, of course, with Derek McInnes out on his own now. He has really transformed that squad. It looks to be working. A great win last weekend at Dens Park on the Sunday against Hearts. So far, so good this afternoon. Following that up, we're still waiting for confirmation on the goal scorer, either Bakayoko or Scott Tiffany on 35 minutes. He won't care a jot, the manager. He is 1-0 up in a big game there. Still, we are playing at Tannadice. Still, we are playing through at Livingston St Mirren there, with opportunity to go top of the table this afternoon. A real sickener for them last Sunday, of course, losing that late penalty. Did you get a chance to look at that, Leanne, the double hit? I'm just going to get a look again. We've now got it in the bigger screen, which is helpful. We're just seeing the celebrations, Kenny. Hopefully it'll give us another run through, but I can see where Tiffany's ran across the ball, but it's maybe again what they've been looking at when it's gone to VAR as well, in terms of Tiffany's positioning as the balls came in. Was it potentially him that was offside? I'm not too sure.
Kenny, you were talking about the Miovski double touch, weren't you? Sorry, with Leanne.
Sorry, Leanne was just actually looking at the screen. We just saw a replay coming. Yeah, but what did you think about that one, Stephen?
Well, there is an angle I've looked at it, and you know, that's half time in our game. It's almost impossible to get top spinning the ball down the middle of the goal with pace without actually taking two touches. So that would make you think the direction of the ball, and the goalkeeper called it immediately. You know, it wasn't a 10-second delay. He thought immediately there's a double touch and went to the referee. So
did you think it was? Sorry, Craigs.
Yeah, I just felt because there was so much top spin in the ball, it made me think you can't hit a dead ball and get as much top spin as that, Leanne.
Yeah,
unless you had to hit it into the ground or hits off the other foot.
To tell, I know it's one of those you're kind of replaying it back over and over.
Because they have to say definitively. That's the problem the VAR person's got, isn't it?
Clear and obvious, isn't it? Which again, this Tiffany stroke Bakayoko goal is not clear and obvious either who gets the final touch. I'm going to say it looks like Bakayoko.
He's doing the celebrations, that's for sure.
Yeah, Tiffany did celebrate as well, though, I would need to say, but nobody really entertained him, and he comes late to the party to celebrate with the team. I think he's trying to tell Bakayoko, I definitely touched it. He's laughing, he's pointing, but Bakayoko's not entertaining it at all. He's like, no, don't know what you mean.
Now we can see them debating that one there in the replay. Here's one last. This is a different angle, so we'll get a wee look here and see who gets the final touch on this ball. So it's into the area here. It's back across. I don't think Tiffany touches it.
No, he flicks his boot at it. Definitely flicks his boot at it. He intends to get a touch, but I'm not sure I can see the ball changing direction at all there. So we'll go with what the social media has given it to.
Yeah, we'll get clarity on that later on.
I think we've still got a good 3 or 4 minutes maybe to go, Kenny, to be honest with you. I'm not too sure.
Who's impressed in that United side for you, Derek?
Do you know something? I wouldn't say there's anybody individually that stood out. I just think as a collective, you know, they're powerful at the back. They've been pretty tenacious in the middle. Grimshaw, obviously Glass in there, but you've got Watt just playing behind Moult, who gives you that little bit of class, and obviously Kadu with the goal away in that right hand side. So they just look as if they've, you know, slightly better players, but as a collective they've been very good. It's been their attitude as much as anything, to be honest with you, Kenny. There's a foul there. There's Holt just picked up a booking. It's just over the last 10 minutes what I said to you just earlier, that I think they've just changed tactics slightly, Airdrie, where they've not tried to build up. They've just went a little bit more direct, and it's maybe took United by surprise a little bit, and it's just caught them out, and they're starting to, you know, manufacture one or two little chances. Now they've got a free kick here. It's a good 25, 26 yards out, so we'll see what they make of this. But as we go towards the break, Airdrie with an opportunity from a free kick. It looks as if it's Hancock that's going to take it.
Yeah, looking at the live championship table, United top on goal difference ahead of Wraith Rovers. Queen's Park have played a game more, are both the same. Queen's Park are in third, Airdrie in the last of the playoff spots. It's very early days, of course. Inverness, Cali Thistle, as things stand, look to be getting in their first win of the season. They lost their opening 3. They are ahead against Dunfermline this afternoon. That goal coming from Nathan Shaw on 12 minutes, when an Inverness Cali Thistle fan got in touch last week saying Billy Dodds was getting too easy a time from his mates in the media. He was struggling, no doubt about that, but the team responding this afternoon still would play on at Tannadice. Just an update on the latest scores then. Kilmarnock 0, Ross County 0, Livingston 0, St Mirren 0, St Johnstone 0, Dundee 1. So we'll get some half-time reports from our top flight games, and I'll run through all the latest scores for you right here on BBC Radio Scotland.
All the grounds, all the goals, all the news.
This is Open All Mics from Sports Sound.
From BBC Radio Scotland.
On BBC iPlayer.
15 years ago, my husband left me very suddenly. I've just seen him.
He's not dead, then. One woman's struggle to expose a fraudster.
I'm Cheryl Parker. I met a man recently, Rob. Oh, he's very energetic.
This is the man I married. He's after Cheryl's trust money.
A brand new drama.
The police are doing nothing, so it's up to us.
The following events are based on a pack of lies.
You stay away from now on.
I see you, Robbie. I see who you are.
Watch on BBC iPlayer.
3 games in the top flight this afternoon for you on Sports, and Kilmarnock at home to Ross County. There for us, Rory Loy.
Yes, indeed. Not a lot to talk about in the first half so far, Kenny. After 16 minutes, Baldwin did have a header from a Jan Danda cross, which went into the arms of the goalkeeper. And at 40 minutes, there was a penalty incident. Am I still with you, Kenny? Yep.
Yeah, got you, Rory.
Yeah, no worries. The ball came into Simon Murray. He tried to take the ball with the inside of his foot and was wiped out by Stuart Finlay, or so the referee had adjudged. However, a look through VAR's eyes suggested the opposite, and the penalty was overturned, so no penalty at all. Lyons, Watson and McGuinness all had efforts with no joy whatsoever. There was a nice moment on the 23rd minute. Tragically, Gordon Stirling, a big Kilmarnock fan of 23 years of age, was killed recently in a road traffic accident. He was recognised at Fir Park last week. However, the home fans wanted to play their respects, so everyone stood to their feet and applauded Gordon Stirling. You know, I love coming out to football. I love coming out to watch games of football and watch any game of football. However, you've got to call a spade, Kenny. You know, fans here devoid of any real entertainment, any quality, and it's been a tough watch. It's 0-0.
Similar story for you, Stephen Craig, and Livingston against St Mirren.
Yeah, it's 0-0, and I have to say both sides are lucky to have nil. You know, there's not been an awful lot in the final third. Livingston had a little push towards the end of the first half. St Mirren probably had the better of the first half of the first half. It's 2 evenly matched teams. It's 2 teams working hard to close down space, probably just lacking that little bit of quality in the final third. I touched on it during the game that the pitch is playing slow. It's really dry, it's sticky, and you can see the players getting a little bit frustrated. It's been stop-start. There's been lots of fouls. You know, there's still to be a Premiership goal scored this season here at Livingston, and if there's one scored in the second half, that could be the winner. You know, the big talking point of the first half was Andrew Shinney had a nasty fall. Him and Keanu Bacchus clashed, so there was a long delay to get Andy Shinney up onto the stretcher and off, so hopefully we'll get good news as that goes on. But as for the product, it's been okay. It's been a tough watch, but hopefully there's better to come in the second half. And half-time, it's Livingston 0, St Mirren 0.
I'm not sure you've watched a classic there at McDermott Park, Willie Miller, but at least you do have a goal.
Yeah, you know, at half-time here, it's visitors. Dundee, as the teams come out to start the second half, Kenny, they lead 1-0. A little bit of controversy, well, not controversy, but we're a little bit uncertain whether Scott Tiffany actually got a touch on the strike from Bakayoko from the free kick, because Bakayoko seemed to celebrate. He was claiming it was his goal. That was in 35 minutes. Scott Tiffany has been the man to watch as far as Dundee is concerned. He's had 3 excellent strikes in goal. Dimitar Mitov has been very lively, having to make 2 good saves from him. And the goal itself, as for St Johnstone, it's been really disappointing for St Johnstone. They've been dominated in midfield. McCowan, Robertson and Tiffany have been brilliant in there. They haven't had any control in the midfield area, hence they haven't created any opportunities for themselves. So at half-time, it certainly deserved lead for Dundee here at McDermott Park, 1-0.
So in the top flight, Kilmarnock 0, Ross County 0, Livingston 0, St Mirren 0, St Johnstone 0, Dundee 1. In the Championship, Arbroath 1, Ayr United 1, Dundee United 1, Airdrie 0. It is now half-time in that game. Inverness Cally Thistle 1, Dunfermline 0, Morton 1, Partick Thistle 1, Wraith Rovers 1, Queen's Park 0. Queens down to 10 men. In League 1, Alloa Athletic 1, Cove Rangers 0, Edinburgh City 0, Falkirk 2, Kelty Hearts 0, Annan Athletic 0, Queen of the South 0, Montrose 2, Stirling Albion 1, Hamilton Accies 2. In League 2, Bonnier Groves 2, Elgin City 0, Clyde 0, Forfar 0, Dumbarton 0, East Fife 0, Spartans 0, Stenhousemuir 0, and Stranraer 2, Peterhead 0. In England, a lunchtime kick-off, Sheffield United 2, Everton 2, Brentford 1, Bournemouth 1, Burnley 1, Tottenham Hotspur 2, Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 0, and Manchester City 2, Fulham 1. 5:30, Brighton against Newcastle United. Leanne, it's been slow fare this afternoon. 3 fantastic games to look forward to tomorrow. Look ahead to these after 5:30. It should be some great action tomorrow.
Yeah, no, definitely. Scottish football fans might be glad of that if you follow the top flight, because certainly the games that we've watched this afternoon haven't quite painted themselves in glory, but certainly the Old Firm is the one that jumps out. I think tomorrow probably the most unpredictable, I would say, that an Old Firm game has been for some time. Yeah. I think getting into it, maybe that will make it a better game, you know, that there's neither side a real clear favourite. Hearts Motherwell, another one, brilliant game. Speaking about Stuart Kettlewell earlier in the programme, the job that he's doing at Motherwell, fantastic late winner last week. Hearts have had a rough week. Europe has certainly compounded that as well, but they're at Tynecastle, they'll be looking to bounce back, so it'll be a big ask for Motherwell to go there and get a result. In Aberdeen and Hibs, the other one, Hibs probably could have picked up umpteen other places they would rather travel to, I think, tomorrow than Pittodrie. Off again the week that they've had, no manager, lots of speculation about the club, confidence probably at rock bottom, poor result last week as well domestically, without a win this season. In Aberdeen, we've spoke about them. Yes, I think they could have been better in Europe this week. I thought they were pretty naive and should have got more out of the game, but Pittodrie was absolutely bouncing on Thursday night, so they need to continue that momentum, continue that support, and every game, you know, you're watching that game on the TV, and every domestic game should have this same feel about it. You know, why wait until European games come round just to properly back your team? So as you say, 3 crackers.
Yeah, it's been a disappointing run under Barry Robson, but overall he's done a terrific job there. You think the state the club were in when he took over, a lot of signings made there as well. We've been bemoaning the lack of goals, the lack of action, the lack of quality. Chick Young in the top flight this afternoon, that's by no means the case in the Championship. Yet again it delivers.
Absolutely, Ken. If you want to watch a good game, just follow me to a match on a Saturday. We'll seem to pick them. Someone picks them for me.
You'll make it sound good, Chick.
Listen, that's a good point, Chick. Chick, I should pull you up on this, because you were talking about the lack of quality. It was a very poor game at Somerset Park last weekend, with a Dundee United fan on saying he had no idea what you were watching, because he said United were very good in complete control.
Was he at the game?
Yes.
Well, he asked the same about you.
I was going to say, he asked the same question.
No, Dundee United were very worthy winners in the end, and I think, while I've gone on about Airdrie and one or two other teams, I think Dundee United will eventually romp this division. They look far better, and there's no doubt they deserve to win. But in terms of being a thrilling football match, it was not, for example, what I'm watching in front of me at Capello this afternoon. Listen, we're 5 minutes into the second half here, so far ahead. They're going to all this VAR decisions, indeed injuries throughout the country. The games are going to finish in different time zones the way we're going at the moment in this league. I'm saying that we never have an injury down here.
So you'll be home by 4:30. Your game will be done in no time.
I'm maybe going to wait to the end and just avoid the traffic if that's okay.
Anything on tonight, Chick?
Matty Kennedy, Nightingale slips in the middle of the pitch. Matty Kennedy runs directly at the defence. It's Conor Randall trying to get back. Just with his left foot, goes across the goalkeeper Laidlaw, just wide of the post in the end. But a much better start to the second half.
Yeah, at least there's a chance, that's for sure. Yeah, Chick?
Just ruined a potential date with you and me there, Ken.
Check what happened to the day out. I was really looking forward to the call, but never came away.
Maybe not the place to discuss this.
Kenny, can I just say Andrew Shinnie has walked across the pitch from the opposite side, so he's getting a standing ovation from both sets of supporters. Clearly a fit bill of health, so thankfully no serious damage done to Andrew Shinnie after that nasty fall.
Yeah, fantastic. He was down for an awful long time. Confirmation of that second goal scorer for Falkirk, Callum Morrison, on 46 minutes. Edinburgh City 0, Falkirk 2. Bonnyrigg Rose 3, Elgin City 0. Reese Peggy, and actually they've just gone 4-0 up Smart Usadola with a goal on 49 minutes. Queen of the South back in it at home to Montrose. Kieran McKechnie on 48 minutes. Queens 1, Montrose 2. So goals elsewhere around the country, but a real dearth of goals in the top flight this afternoon. Just that one at McDermott Park. Dundee with their noses in front there. Willie Miller, what do you need to see from the home side in the second half?
Well, it's got to be better all round. They've looked a little bit suspect at the back, but hesitant. They've had no control in the midfield area. They've created absolutely nil chances. So, when you've had a first 45 like that, then Stephen McLean has got to be into them in the second half to insist that they get more in this second half. It's been a poor performance from them, very, very poor performance. And just to clear that up, Chick, that was a tour of Glasgow museums that Derek was talking about.
Yes.
That you were going to organise for us, yes.
It was, places of local interest, Willie.
Exactly.
I thought it was a tour of Tennant's Brewery. That's what Chick had told me.
Is that not a place of interest?
Very much so. We had a 10-minute stoppage, Kenny. Sorry, Chick. No, it was a 10-minute stoppage.
10 minutes, right? Yeah, getting a bit behind there at Tanneris. Yes, Chick.
Another Morton problem in the injury front. Stephen Boyd has gone off. Lewis McGrattan has come on. Actually, Morton only have 4 stripped outfield players. Thistle have got the full 9 on the bench, so that might be a problem. This game evolves. There's a little chance. Oh, what an effort! Another effort from Morton, and it was the head of Robbie Muirhead. And I think the goalkeeper, did he get a touch of that? No, it's scraped the top of the crossbar. No corner kick. Morton nearly ahead. Still 1-1 at Capello.
Anthony Elanga has given Nottingham Forest the lead away at Chelsea. 48 minutes. That goal going in there. Chelsea have spent an absolute fortune in recent times, but they are behind at home in that game. What's happening in the early stages of the second half at Starks Park, Amy Canavan?
It's still all Wraith Rovers, Kenny, and that's even despite a few switches for both sides. Queen's Park will be absolutely delighted to see the back of Jack Hamilton. I cannot tell you, he was running rampant in that first half, but Jamie Gullen has came on to replace him and he's looked lively, certainly trying to make sure that he obviously gets into the starting lineup from the weeks coming in. And Barry Hepburns went off for Louis Longridge for Queen's Park, but it really has just been all Wraith. They're just completely stretching this Queen's Park side, and that man advantage is just, it is adding even more to what already was an extremely dominant performance. The goals, though, Ian Murray will certainly hope will be starting to flood in, because 1-0, you're never comfortable at that, but it is 1-0 here at Starks Park.
I think, fairly big things were expected of Dunfermline this season, having done so well in League One last campaign. How have they looked against Inverness Cally Thistle this afternoon?
To be honest,
honest, Kenny, they've been okay. They've started brightly in this second half. They've had an awful lot of possession, but I can't remember Mark Ridgers making a save at all. I mean, Mark Ridgers has been effectively a sweeper. In fact, here's a chance now as the ball's flighted in from the corner. Yeah, Mark Ridgers has played as a sweeper keeper in this one. Not really had an awful lot to do. Caley Thistle, the longer this game goes at 1-0, the more nervous they look. They've not had a good start to the second half, and just the way they have been defensively this season, they really need a second goal to kill it off. But Dunfermline's starting to come back into it.
Desperately need a goal there at Rugby Park. Rory Loy seeing Derek McInnes out in the touchline cheering his players on.
Yeah, and it's another good bit of play there. Matty Kennedy sprayed the ball out wide to Daniel Armstrong, who whipped one in, and it was new signing Tom Davies arriving at the back post, but the ball was just a little bit too high for him. But the lack of action at times has got me. You were talking about songs earlier on and what your choice would be. When I was an apprentice here at 16, obviously I couldn't drive, so my family being from the south of Scotland, I used to get the train up. Now there was a train that got me in 2 hours early or half an hour late, and when Jim Jeffries is your manager, you take the 2 hour early option. And I remember I used to come in and sleep on the physio table in the away dressing room and wait for everybody else to come in. And I don't know if you remember a song, The Streets, Dry Your Eyes. That always used to be playing. Yes. Always used to be playing when I was sitting on that physio bed. So just sitting thinking about that when you were talking about songs and things that take you back to certain moments in time. So Rugby Park and The Streets is definitely one for me.
Rory, did you need a licence at 16? Nobody told me.
How scary was Jim? I remember waiting to the interview down.
Oh, it's a goal! Simon Murray!
Wow!
From a free kick, Jan Danda. He's had a few of those free kicks, but he gets this one absolutely right. And Simon Murray makes a great run across the defence, near the front post, heads it in. Absolutely textbook run as a striker from a free kick. Defence sat watching, and it's exactly what this game needed, I have to say. Kilmarnock probably had the better chances, but it is Kilmarnock 0, Ross County 1.
Yeah, it's a good goal, Rory. Really good delivery. Simon Murray does so well to go and attack it. He's a proper live wire. Even the energy that he's got as he's waiting for the ball to come in, he's always on the move. Rises well, directs a header, a lot of power and pace on it, in between the two defenders. Good goal, really good goal.
Good finish, good run as well.
Yeah, we spoke about the job Malky Mackay's doing. The question was put to him before the game. He said, of course, he's very focused, but he has definitely been linked with the Hibs job. I would think he'd be a very serious contender there, Leanne. He's a very experienced manager now, and he seems to recruit well.
Yeah, well, I think the experience thing for me is the one that Hibs have got to go for this time. I don't think they can really afford to gamble. I don't think the fans will accept it. I think they would rather somebody that's been tried and tested. Cragg spoke about someone that knows the Scottish League. I think that would be the preference. And Malky Mackay, he ticks a lot of those boxes. There'll be certain parts of his reputation perhaps that some fans might not entertain, but he's got that experience, and the fact that he knows, I think, the English market really well. His recruitment has been the one thing that's kind of gone for him. We've been really impressed with the bodies that he's taken to Ross County over the last couple of seasons, and he can unearth those types of gems, and if you've not got that experience and you don't have that network down in England, it becomes really difficult and it becomes a gamble. So no, I'm sure he'll be a strong favourite.
Stephen Craigan, from what you've seen of Hibs, what you believe they need, reasonable compensation taken into account, who should their number one target be?
Listen, I'm biased, Kenny. Stephen Robinson's a friend of mine, and when I just look at his CV of what he's done with regards to improving players, selling players on, getting an underachieving club in Motherwell, taking them into Europe, taking Smyrna into the top six for the first time in, 20, 30 years we're talking about. Having a style, having a structure, adapting his shape from last season to this season. I just think he ticks a lot of boxes, for what Hibs want and what they need. He knows the league. His profile as a manager and his history is there. It's in black and white for someone to go and have a look at and think that's the kind of guy we like.
He's got a good relationship with the fans there. All the fans really like him, and I think that in this day and age that's really, really important.
Yeah, and I think he should, himself, he became a lot calmer. He's more controlled in the sideline. He's better with players. I was in the St Mirren training ground last week doing an interview with him, and just the camaraderie that's built around even the staff and the players and the connection.
Yes, second goal for Dundee, and it is Ricky Lamy that gets the header, cross from the right hand side from the corner, and Ricky Lamy up unmarked in the 6-yard box. He just nods it, just a tap of the head into the top corner to give Dundee the second goal.
Yeah, he does well, rises well, Willie. Good delivery, I think, is it Bakayoko, that delivers the corner. Puts us into a dangerous area, but I don't know if it looks like anybody's really around Ricky Lamy when he goes to make contact.
Yeah, he's hard to spot, isn't he? You know, I mean, he's not a particularly big fellow in the box. You would think somebody would say, let's get a hold of these big guys that are coming into the box.
I know,
and maybe
it looks as if it's a bit of zonal defending that St Johnstone have got going on. I know, it drives me mad, just pick up bodies.
Neil McCann was banging on that during the week with the Rangers game. Yeah, someone jumping in there?
Yeah, it's Kenny. We're underway at Tannadice now.
Thanks, Derek. Yeah, what do you make of it, Leanne? You're not a fan?
I'm not a huge fan. No, I think personally throughout my career, I don't think I was anywhere that we really zonally marked. I prefer the accountability. I prefer being able to identify bodies even as soon as a team line comes out at the start to match up. And I know there'll be certain moments in games that you might get caught or you might need to slightly adapt. But what I see now is that there's too many players that take up a zonal role that effectively they're your ball winners, and they stand in zonal positions and they don't challenge for the ball, or they stay fixed in the one spot, almost waiting for, if the ball lands in my head, I'll clear it, and if it doesn't, well, it's not my zone. And I just think, at what level the game really do you get away with that? You know, when there's quality in delivery as well, and you've got players that are arriving with real aggression and looking to win the ball like Ricky Lamy's managed to do there, it doesn't make sense.
Willie, how popular was it when you were playing zonal marking? Was it used much?
We had a kind of a hybrid, to be honest. We always made sure that the big lads were picked up. I mean, there's some players that you've got to make sure that you pick up man for man. But then we used to use Big Alec to go and win it, to actually go and win the ball. So if it came, you know, anywhere close to him, he would go and try to win it. You know, me, I had nothing to do with that. I don't like heading the ball. You know, I've listened to too many scary stories, and I was listening to one coming up in the car today about heading the ball. So I tried to avoid it as much as possible and let Big Alec go for it. And then we would pick up the key men and give them responsibility. I think if you've got central defenders coming up, you've got to make sure that somebody's on them. Somebody's got to make it at least difficult. And you don't have to be the biggest. You just have to be intelligent enough to make it difficult for them to get a clear header on the ball.
I think sometimes, though, when there's a goal scored in the zonal marking, we all talk about it. You know, we don't talk about it when there's a man marking situation and there's a goal scored. So it's one of those things that only rears its head whenever someone zonal marks and concedes a goal from. You know, there's certainly.
But do you not think, Craigs, because it's that accountability? When it's you know, it's man to man, as Leanne says, you can go.
Yeah, well,
that was so-and-so's fault.
It's preference, though.
In this instance, Craigs,
no, it's preference. But what I'm saying is, if it's you don't talk about it as much because you can clearly see whose fault it was that their man scored, whereas if you're zonal, it leaves too many questions to be asked as to who was actually responsible for the mistake.
Yeah, I think St Johnstone are a hybrid model, I would need to say, but what they've got is two spare bodies at the front post, and when the ball goes beyond you at the front post and one of those players is not picking up and you've got Ricky Lamy out jumping folk inside the 6-yard box, you've got a real problem in your hands.
Do you know what I think as well, Leanne, that whoever gets the goal has got to work really hard for it? You know,
100%.
Sorry, I'm going to have to interrupt. There has been the most unbelievable goal here at Starks Park. It's 1-1. I cannot believe it. Kevin Dabrowski, I was literally just thinking in my mind, my God, Kevin Dabrowski's not had a single save to make this whole game. I don't know if it's something to do with the dry pitch. Since Louis Longridge has came on, he has been a little bit of a nuisance, but it's just a ball that he should totally deal with. He tries to almost grab it, flap it, I don't know, completely loses his foot, and Louis Longridge isn't even looking at the ball anymore because he thinks, you know, the keeper's going to have to deal with it, and he's just left totally sprawling, and it's an open goal, open net, and it's unbelievable. There's just a deafening silence, a heartbreaking silence really, rippling around Starks Park, because Queen's Park haven't been in the game at all, but it's remarkably 1-1 here.
Yeah, right back in it there. Queen of the South have equalised at home to Montrose. Lewis Gibson on 60 minutes. Spurs have gone 3-1 up. That is away at Burnley. James Maddison with a goal on 54 minutes.
Scott Tiffany puts it by the post. Oh, dearie me, how do you miss that one, Scott? Seriously, goalkeeper playing it to his centre half. He doesn't get control of it. Dundee win possession. Too sure who was it, Finlay, Robertson or McCowan, who sets in. He sets in Scott Tiffany. He's just got the goalkeeper to beat, and somehow he manages to manoeuvre it by the post. That could have been.
Is it going for a corner, really?
Was it a
Did somebody
touch?
get a touch on it?
Who's touched it?
I think the goalkeeper. I think the goalkeeper's actually got a
If he's got a hand to
fingertip
that,
to it. He's done really well.
It's fantastic save then. Sorry, Scott.
Well, can I just ask? I expected St Johnstone to put in a real performance today, just based on last week. Now I understand it's a different game. You know, it's all about organisation last week at Celtic Park and working hard for the team. Whereas this week, you need that little bit of invention and creativity. Have they just not had it, or
nothing? Yeah, absolutely nothing.
Is it?
No chances whatsoever in the game so far. Rory, they look very nervous at the back. In the midfield, they've had no control of the midfield. The Dundee midfield have been brilliant. McCowan, Robertson and Tiffany in particular. Tiffany has saved the life out of James Brown. He doesn't know which day it is, to be perfectly honest. So he's been magnificent. If he did get a touch on that goal, then that would round off his day. It was unfortunate.
Oh, it's got to be a goal. Oh, he's missed it. Oh my goodness me. Now I watched Hristic hit an absolute sitter over the bar during the week. He's got the goalkeeper to beat Jordan White, but it's just as bad. I tell you what, Jack Baldwin has made a lovely arc and run as a striker. It's went over the head of Stuart Finlay, I think it is. It's been cut back, and Jordan White, oh my days, either take a touch and pick a corner or get good connection on it and hit the back of the net. Humongous opportunity for County to go 2 up, but it remains 1.
No, he's definitely going to blame the pitch. He's got a get out of jail card. He must score. He's got to score. I don't even know that it doesn't set up before it arrives at him, Rory.
Does he take it on his weak right foot because he's a lefty?
Takes it on his right foot, but I think it is the right decision rather than waiting it coming across his body. He just gets too much height on it. He just almost leans back and it's too relaxed about the finish rather than just getting over the top of the ball, and he could have rifled it into the back of the net. He's got every bit of the goal to aim for.
I don't think I've ever seen the centre of a back three, the centre back from the middle, an open play make a start. Why he's there in the first place I don't quite know, and the run he makes is unbelievable.
Kelty Hearts 1, Craig Johnson 0. Sorry, 62 minutes, Kelty Hearts 1-0 up there. Just confirmation of the Queen's Park goal, Jack Turner on 64 minutes. Erling Haaland has put Manchester City 3-1 up now at home to Fulham. So let's go round the grounds and get
the post. Oh, a chance for Partick Thistle. It's a great break from their own half. Ball comes to another chance, goes in. Kenny would get that one clear as well. It was Aidan Fitzpatrick with a fantastic run, curled his shot. Keeper's beating all ends up. It comes off the post, and Morton get it scrambled clear. It's still Morton 1, Partick Thistle 1.
Montrose have gone 3-2 up now on Queen of the South. Queens had fought back from 2 goals down. Craig Brown with the second goal of the game there on 67 minutes. And Spurs are now 4-1 up away to Burnley. Son with his second goal of the game there, and a red card. Nicky Jameson for Stenhousemuir sent off on the 63rd minute. That is in their game away at Spartan. So just talk us through what's happening down there at Rugby Park, Rory.
Well, Kamalik did come back into the game after the opening goal from Ross County. There was a long delay when Brad Lyons was down. He is thankfully back up, and he's taking part in the game again. But that gave Kamalik a little bit of time to come over to Dennett McInnes and regroup. And Matt Kennedy did have a shot which Laidlaw saved, which you would expect him to save after that. And then after that, it's been Ross County again who have had the chance I've just described. Always Kamalik want a penalty kick or a free kick in the edge of the box, which I think they would be lucky to get. The referee makes the right decision there for me. And then Danda had a shot just after Jordan White blazed over from 5 yards. County have been good this second half, but Kilmarnock are going to need to change something at some point, whether that be personnel or trying to get away from this shape, which I understand I've already said they've worked on all week and whatever else, but it gets to a stage in a game where you have to try something, so it'll be interesting to see how the rest of this plays out. But it's been a much better second half, both quality and entertainment wise, Kenny.
A bit behind time wise at Livingston against St Mirren. Stephen Craigan.
It's very much the same as the first half, Kenny, I've got to say. There's been very little goal-mouth action. It's 2 competitive teams. The central defenders have probably dominated centre forwards because the ball spent an awful lot of time in the air. What's been disappointing as well is both sides have had opportunities from set plays to put in good crosses, whether it's corner kicks or free kicks, and the quality hasn't been there either. So
that's a goal. That's a goal for Partick Thistle. I think the final touch is it big Brian Graham. The ball was down the right hand side. It was played in. They got it away. Ball came back in, and there's a touch. And it is Brian Graham who has put the Jags 2-1 ahead at Capo, and the fans in that wee Dublin end come cascading down the benches to celebrate their heroes. The Jags ahead at Greenock.
Yeah, fantastic. That's following on from their win last weekend. Let's then
tell you what, Kenny, what a difference in the second half from Airdrie. They've just missed a great opportunity there. Their new signing, Liam Stravik, he just blazed one over. I think the keeper might have got a fingertip to it, but they've been so much better, so much more positive in this second half. I just thought it was kind of one-sided for too much of that first half, but they've come out. Obviously the manager's riled them up a little bit, and they're producing better football. It's quicker, more incisive, they're getting bodies forward, they're creating chances, albeit saying that right at the start of the half, you were having that discussion about the kind of zonal marking. Kevin Holt had hit the post from a header. My opinion of zonal marking, I don't like it at all, by the way. Just get up against your man and win your duel, win your headers. But I've certainly a good second half of got Marcars already, Kenny, here.
Sounds good.
Double change, Kenny, for Derek McInnes. New signing Davies has went off, as is Watson. A new striker, new signing Andy Dallas is on for his debut, and Rory McKenzie, who's just got a handful of appearances for command, shall we say.
And it's Brian Graham again. It's a break from the right hand side. It's a wonderful break by Jack McMillan. They get forward to Thistle. Fans, one or two have come onto the pitch at that wee Dublin end, but it's Graham with his second of the afternoon. An electric break down the right hand side. Ball comes across, touched onto Brian Graham, and he just volleys it into the back of the net from within inside the 6-yard box. Partick Thistle have a real grip in this football match now. It's Morton 1, Thistle 3.
Yeah, Brian Graham delivers again. My goodness, Ange Postecoglou is delivering down in England. Burnley 1, Spurs 5. A hat-trick for Son in that game there. Let's then get to McDermott Park. The home side's really up against it, Willie Miller.
Well, they are, and it's not really getting any better, even although Stephen McLean has rung the changes with McPherson, Kane, Kucheravi coming on, and Jeffcott just coming on as well. So, it's not getting any better either. I mean, the game should be out of their sight. It might be out of their sight at this moment in time, but at 2, then they've still got a chance to get back in it. They haven't dealt with Scott Tiffany at all, and if he'd have finished that big opportunity, then that would have been the game over. They've had no control of the game, they've had no chances to speak about. It's been a dreadful day, particularly at home for Stephen McLean. Doesn't seem to be getting any better for them. On the other hand, Tony Docherty, although he got a yellow card, don't know what it was for, maybe just getting a little bit too excited seeing his team in the lead. But his team have played extremely well, dominant in midfield, creating opportunities, and as I said, Scott Tiffany outstanding.
So the latest scores: Kilmarnock 0, Ross County 1, Livingston 0, St Mirren 0. They're behind in that game due to an injury in the first half. Thank goodness it's good news on Andrew Shinnie. St Johnstone 0, Dundee 2. In the Championship, Arbroath 1, Ayr United 1, Dundee United 1, Airdrie 0.
Another goal at Starks Park, and I'm sorry, I just cannot believe it. It's Queen's Park have taken the lead here. Dom Thomas, this is frightening. Park, they're absolutely furious at the defending from Raith Rovers, and no wonder. Their side have completely thrown away one of the most dominant first hours of football I've seen in such a long time. It's a mess at the back. Dom Thomas absolutely rifling in from close range, and he's not missing from there. He never is. 2-1 remarkably to Queen's Park.
Yeah, so Arbroath 1, Ayr United 1, Dundee United 1, Airdrie 0, Inverness Cally Thistle 1, Dunfermline 0, Morton 1, Partick Thistle 3, and as we've just been hearing from Amy, Raith Rovers 1, 10-man Queen's Park 2. In League 1 this afternoon, Alloa Athletic 1, Cove Rangers 0, Edinburgh City 0, Falkirk 2, Kelty Hearts 1, Annan Athletic 0, Queen of the South 2, Montrose 3, Stirling Albion 1, Hamilton Accies 2. And in League 2, Bonnyrigg Rose 4, Elgin City 1, Clyde 0, Forfar 0, Dumbarton 0, East Fife 0, Spartans 0, Stenhousemuir 0, Stenhousemuir down to 10 men, Stranraer 2, Peterhead 0. And in England, full-time scoreline: Sheffield United 2, Everton 2, Brentford 1, Bournemouth 1, Burnley 1, Tottenham Hotspur 5, Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 1, Manchester City 3, Fulham 1, 5:30 kickoff, Brighton against Newcastle United. So confirmation that goal coming through Dom Thomas on 73 minutes. My goodness, what a scoreline that would be for Queen's Park. They made a very, very good start to the season. That was a Russell Dingwall penalty for Elgin City, pulling a goal back, but it looks like a lost cause, trailing Bonnyrigg Rose by 4-1. So let's then get to Inverness, Cally Thistle against Dunfermline. There for us, Ian Auld. What's happening, Ian?
Yeah, Dunfermline pushing for that equaliser, Kenny. Cally Thistle content to hit them on the counter-attack. Bad news and good news for Dunfermline fans. Kane Ritchie-Hostler has returned from injury. He's on for Dunfermline, as is Owen Moffat, the new signing from Blackpool. But Kyle Benedictus is off. He's taken a real sore one and a tackle with Nathan Shaw. So minus their captain as they chase an equaliser.
You've seen a fair bit of the Championship, Chick Young. Do you think Partick Thistle can get themselves into the playoff spots this season?
Absolutely. You know, it was an incredible league last year. I think it's going to be slightly more predictable this time around, but I'm sure Thistle, you know, they've shown a lot of fight in this second half, Kenny, a lot of spirit about them, and you've got Brian Graham, who just doesn't seem to age at all. You just knew that was going to end up in the back of the net when it came into him within the 6-yard box. His positioning is terrific, instinctive finishing, and you've got him fit and playing for you. You've always got a chance. They're organised, lawless, because past players absolutely love
for a penalty.
Fitzpatrick as well.
Shout for a penalty at Rugby Park, and have a wee look. It did look like it was two arms round Stuart Finlay, but there wasn't much of a protest. But me looking down at it, he looked like he was pulled back, but I think his problem was the ball was not near him.
Sorry, Rory, we've got a red card here. Harry Milne, I think that was a straight red he was showing. There was a foul down in front of me. Milne doesn't really agree with the decision, obviously. Having a word with the referee saying he's got the ball, but red is red, and off he trots. And Thistle, although the 3-1 ahead, are down to 10 men.
Well, maybe game on down there at Capello. We shall see. Rory, we spoke earlier on about the vacancy at Hibs, and we said Malky Mackay, we believe, is very much in the running for that. He certainly was Michael Stewart's choice when we discussed it on Sportsound before. Now, Hibs are not going to go in one game, but in terms of momentum, and Malky Mackay can get this win down at Rugby Park against another manager that's been quoted in Derek McInnes, it could go a long way in terms of persuading the Hibs board that he's the man.
I don't think that a board of directors should look at one individual fixture and say, you know, that's enough to get him over the line over, say, Derek McInnes. So I don't think they'll isolate this fixture and, you know, almost sit and say the winner of this game is our favourite. But, you know, I just think Stephen Craigan made the point, which I couldn't agree more with. You need to identify what kind of manager you want in, first and foremost. Do you want a manager to come in and, you know, play sparkling football with these philosophies and ideas, or do you want somebody to come in and get instant results? May not be pretty to start with, and they may need a little bit of time to build up to what the fans expect. And I just think that Malky Mackay and Derek McInnes both tick those boxes, and Stephen Robinson, to be fair. So I think they need to identify quickly who it is they want, or what type of manager it is they want, and then narrow the shortlist down, and then it'll come down to interviews, who presses and who convinces the board that it's theirs. But they need to identify who they want, why they want them, and you know, really invest their time and energy into that manager, and the fans need to get on board as well.
Big chance,
so they do.
Big chance here for St Johnstone. First opportunity of the game, and it's Chris Kane coming on as a substitute, and he gets it with his right foot. It's a cross put into the box. It's headed back out. He takes it in the volley. He leathers it against it. It hits the top of the crossbar right enough. It must have taken a little touch on its way. Maybe the goalkeeper getting his hand to it, perhaps, but it comes off the crossbar as well, and it goes out for the corner. First opportunity for St Johnstone this afternoon.
Kenny Chow just had a free kick here at the Tony Macaroni Stadium. St Mirren's zonal marking, and they didn't concede. So
yes, it's always a good debate, I have to say. It's always a good debate in this programme. Manchester City.
You're in favour of it, Craigs, are you? You're in favour of it. No.
I just think we always talk about it when someone scores.
He's got a few quid in Stevie Robinson for the job, do you?
A mate of mine, he's good at the zonal defending as well.
Kyle Turner just had a chance there, Kenny. He's made a double substitution. Malky Mackay, Murray and Danda off, Eamon Brophy and Laturi on. The former coming on to his previous club to a chorus of boos. He did well against Stuart Finlay, who flapped a little bit when the ball dropped over his shoulder, and Brophy got a foot in. It fell to Kyle Turner, who shifted it on his left foot. However, the shot was straight down the throat of Will Dennis, and it remains Ross County 1, Kilmarnock 0.
Stirling Albion have equalised at home to Hamilton Accies. Kyle Banner on 76 minutes. It's 2 apiece there. Annan have equalised away at Kelty Hearts. Aidan Smith on 70. That one is 1-1. Erling Haaland has another goal. It's a penalty for Manchester City. They are now 4-1 up on Fulham. Tactically then,
Goal in Dunfermline. It's 1-1. It's the vice-captain Chris Hamilton. Another real defensive mix-up for Cali Thistle. And Hamilton quickest in the 6-yard box to head past Mark Richards. 1-1.
Big chance here for Dundee in the break. Bakayoko again, put through by Luke McCowan there, and he's a little bit unfortunate. Takes a bit of a heavy touch. Good defensive tackle though to give away the corner, but again another big chance. If he could have got the touch a little bit better, got the ball under control, he could have been right in on top of the goalkeeper, but not on this occasion. But Dundee threatening yet again.
Bournemouth now 2-1 up away at Brentford. David Brooks on 77 minutes. Rory, what's Derek McInnes changed down there to try and get back into this game?
Well, he's changed the personnel. Dallas hasn't had much of a sniff so far, and to be fair to Derek McInnes' side, they must have been double figures for corners. They've had corner after corner after corner. However, they're not really making it count. Ross County are defending the box really, really well. The game's opened up slightly, so they are getting slightly more joy in open play. But you have to put it down to Ross County's defending as it goes out for another corner. Really good header by Nightingale there. It goes out again. So he's changed the personnel. The shape hasn't changed too much at this moment in time, but I would imagine as the time ticks on, they will throw one of the three centre-backs up the top end of the pitch to try and grab a goal.
Any sign, Stephen Craigan, of the deadlock being broken through there at the Tony Macaroni?
Not really, Kenny, I have to say. Obalai had a header from a wide free kick that went over the crossbar. But I look around and, neither goalkeeper has really had any kind of saving note to make. I suppose you can credit the defenders for that, or you can maybe give a little bit of criticism to the forward players. They can't find that little bit of magic in the final third. So, it's drifting towards a 0-0. It's got 0-0 written all over it unless somebody can produce something out of the ordinary, or there's a horrendous mistake somewhere. So, would both managers be happy? I think St Mirren, coming away from home, would be reasonably pleased with the point. But St Mirren have also brought on Alex Grieve, who twice this season in the 3 league games has come off the bench and scored. He scored at the opening day away at Easter Road, and he scored against Aberdeen as well. So maybe he's the man to break the deadlock.
Oh, it's off the line. Airdrie's Callum Gallagher are still putting the pressure on. I can't believe what I'm witnessing in the last 5-10 minutes. Jim Goodwin's side have just sat back. They've just reverted to falling back into their own half, conceding possession. You can hear the natives here, the fans round about Tannadice. They're not happy whatsoever. They were in a position of strength. They were bossing the game. They were at it. All of a sudden, they're only one goal up. Yeah, they've hit the woodwork twice. They dominated the first half, but I think it's a really dangerous tactic. They're just sitting off and allowing Airdrie get on the ball. They're starting to pop it about, and just as we're saying there, just creating a chance. It just was so close to going over the line. I'm not sure who cleared it off the line, but I think it's just dangerous to sit off against this Airdrie side.
Are the home fans, how are they reacting?
There's murmurings round about. There's a few not everyone, some of them, but it's just very strange. The last 5-10 minutes, it's if Jim's just decided, we're quite happy, 1-0 up.
What's a goal? They've got one back. They've got one back. St Johnson out the blue. I'll tell you who it is in a minute, but it's a good cross from the left-hand side right to the back post, and it is Kucheriva that is at the back post. He gets a header in on it. He just heads it down. He's unmarked, but it's a brilliant cross from the left-hand side. A little bit loopy perhaps, but it evades all the defenders, and the substitute is there to head it into the back of the net to give St Johnson a little bit of hope in this game.
Yeah, it's a good header, Willie. As you say, I think it's all about the delivery, although I'm going to get another look at it. I don't know if the question marks over the goalkeeper, if I'm being honest, in terms of the angle. He does really well. It's a good header. I'm going to credit the attacker. He does everything right, puts it back into the grass, in between the goalkeeper and the defender. It's about the only place in the goal actually he could put it that you're going to give him a chance of getting it into the back of the net. Sorry. Game on. You might have a tasty finish now.
Well, hopefully. It's been lacking, and certainly as far as the home side's concerned, but games of football, if you don't take your opportunities, don't take your chances, and certainly Dundee have had enough to have this game totally out of St Johnstone's reach. But that one goal gives them hope, and with maybe 5-6 minutes to go or something of normal time, then there will be hope for them.
Chance here at Livingston, Kenny. the one of very few. Jamie Brandon breaks free on the right hand side, does really well to bustle his way past Alexander Gogic. He comes in on the right edge of the box. He's at a really tight angle, tries to shoot across Zach Hemming, shoots it straight at him, unfortunately, off the knee of Hemming, and the ball cleared. But that's the first kind of real chance that Livingston have had in the second half.
Yeah, it's a confirmation that Max Kucheravi goal in 82 minutes. They are right back in at the home side there at McDermott Park, trailing Dundee by 2 goals to 1. Arbroath are now 2-1 up on Ayr United. Jermaine Hilton on 82 minutes.
Kenny, another goal here at Capello. It's a 4th for Partick Thistle. They have torn Morton apart in the second half here. It was substitute Tommy Adeloy, broke down the right hand side, showed good strength, and what a finish. Well, this is nearly a goal for Morton. It's gone end to end, but Thistle will take all 3 points this afternoon. It's been a convincing second half showing from them. Remember, it was Muirhead to put Morton ahead with a fabulous free kick earlier on. Wallace with equaliser, and then a double from Brian Graham, and now Tommy Adeloy has made it 4-1, and all 3 points heading up the M8 back to Glasgow.
The goals keep coming, the goals keep coming at Stars Park. It is now 2-2 here. Wraith Rovers scoring, of course, is substitute Lewis Vaughan, homegrown hero around here. Just a crazy game. A lovely glancing header, the back post, and it's a deserved draw.
Goal! I was waiting to see if the referee's assistant's flag was going to go up. It came from the home side. It's a long ball over the top. VAR will have a look. It looked very close for Bruce Anderson. Was he offside? Was he onside? He didn't care. He just ran into the box, dribbled the ball with him, and put it through the legs of Zach Hemming. So if it is onside, then it's 1-0 to Livingston.
Yeah, it's a good goal if it's on, Craigs, but it's going to be really tight, as you say. I caught it just as you started to give us a run through it, and it's marginal, really marginal. He's been given the benefit of the doubt. Of course, his movement's good. He kind of tries to hold and delay. No, he's on.
And you know what? It's a really cool finish. He's a great finisher, isn't he?
He's still got an awful lot to do. Yeah, he receives it outside the box, travels, takes his touch inside, and just kind of waits.
You know, I was talking about a player making a difference. He's come on as a sub as well for Curtis Guthrie, and I don't think anyone else in the Livingston team would have the instinct that he has, or would even have finished with the amount of time he had on his hands to eventually put the ball through the legs of the goalkeeper. So Davy Martindale's substitute could have played the key part in getting the big 3 points.
Yeah, he likes the Bruce Anderson change in games. The amount of times I've heard Davy Martindale post-match go on about him and the impact that he has, whether he starts or comes off the bench.
Yeah, I think he scored last week off the bench as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
At Easter Road, so
and
he'll be certainly chomping at the bit for a start.
Kilmarnock starting to turn the screw a little bit now, so they are. In fact, 11 corners, which, you know, to Ross County's one, which doesn't tell the full story of the match, but it does show they have been up the pitch enough to have should have troubled Ross County more. You know, Laidlaw's made a good few saves, but they've all been comfortable, everything you would expect them to make. Did make me laugh a minute ago though, with the home crowd being quite quiet. You know, Malky Mackay is just looking for, you know, a bank of 4 and a bank of 5 to see the game out. Victor Luturi decides to make this unbelievably over-ambitious run into the corner, and the full crowd went quiet, and you just heard Malky Mackay going, "Victor, what are you doing?" And he just glanced at him and sprinted back into position.
Can I just say, everybody in the Tony Macaroni Stadium is looking at Nick Walsh and Leanne. He's going to flag has gone up now, so it's ruled offside. VAR has determined that Bruce Anderson was offside.
The image that we have.
What a header that is! Oh, what's he pointed for? Oh, I think he's given a penalty, but the ball's ended up in the back of the net. As far as I can see, there's a booking out. I think it's for Reid. Stuart Finlay glances the ball into the net from a wide free kick. Excellent delivery, not dissimilar to Simon Murray's, except he went across the goalkeeper Finlay. It ends up in the net, but he'd already blown his whistle and pointed to the spot. Very, very harsh in Kilmarnock, I must say.
Well, we said it was quiet. It's kicking off now, that's for sure.
We knew this was going to happen, Kenny. I'm going to get a look at that again, Rory.
I think honestly, I've told that right. I think that's what's happened.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll give us a replay. We're just seeing pictures of the players surrounding Kevin Clancy just now.
So we're trying to see what the penalty was.
Yeah,
shot pull.
Shot pull initially. Yeah, ball's in.
Why doesn't he just let the play go?
Just wait.
I mean, you're talking half a second, if that, by the time the ball's glanced into the net. Just wait and see what comes of it.
Sean Crichton has given Dumbarton a late goal at home to East Fife. That in the 87th minute, 1-0 ahead. Yeah,
Kenny, they're now checking the penalty. So if they look at this, and by the sounds of things, as
he's
Leanne says,
need to give the penalty. It is a shot pull. It's a blatant shot pull, Rory. I'll give you that.
But in this circumstance, if he was not to give the penalty, Rugby Park would be outraged. But it does say they're checking it, but Armstrong's got the ball on the spot, and he will line up against Laidlaw.
I would need to say in the first half I did worry for our sportsing colleagues that they might not have too much to speak about tonight in the show, but thankfully the second half is livened up and there's a few talking points.
Here he comes, up he steps, left-footed, saved low to Laidlaw's right, saved it with his legs. To be fair, he's not made any outstanding saves, but he's been solid all day, Laidlaw. He reads Danny Armstrong, gets down low, and he saves it now. This will cause outrage, because the goal, in my opinion, why the referee doesn't let that play is outrageous.
Yeah, and it's a poor penalty as well, I would need to say, Rory.
Yeah. He's got his hand to his ear again, though.
Yeah.
I think he's maybe off the line.
Possible infringement, maybe in the box. Oh, looks good. Goalkeeper looks good.
Play on. I think he'll be doing everything he can to try and get a retake.
Well, I'll tell you something, stay tuned for the Derek McInnes post-match interview. That will be brought to you on Sports Sound.
I'll tell you what, Jim Goodwin is having an absolute nanny Rooney. He is cracking up. Oh, he is livid, by the way, and I've never saw him as animated as that. He's actually just he's kicked a water bottle. He's growling, shouting at the players, smashing his hand. He's absolutely irate. It was one or two missed placed passes, but he ain't happy at all, and he's shown his displeasure to his players. Not seen Jim like that in a good while, got to say.
Rory, that is an absolutely shocking decision to blow that.
Embarrassing.
It is frightening, because is this not the whole point of VAR?
I know, but you're absolutely right. But see, the thing is, if you think about the time it takes once he sees the shirt pull to just let the ball go in the box.
Well, you think about how ridiculous.
If it goes wide, give a penalty.
How many times do we sit and say about offside rule, where it's clearly offside and they allow play to go on, they allow players to get into 50-50
chance
challenges.
Again, it's for Watkins again. Watkins this time, sorry, and it comes from a wide free kick and a header again, and it's another save you'd expect Laidlaw to make, but he has to make it. Kelly really turning the screw now, but you're absolutely right, Leanne. I just cannot fathom. It's unforgivable, really, because that is basic stuff in terms of referee.
Yeah.
Well, Jack Rudden's in. He's got a chance. Doesn't open his body up enough. He's just got to try to get his body positioned a little bit better, get the left foot out the way and get the right foot on it and go for the far corner. He goes for the near corner, don't understand why, and kind of just clips it by that near post. That's another big chance for Dundee. Although St Johnstone are pushing hard, they're creating issues in the Dundee defence, but on the break still looking a little bit suspect, and Rudden should have finished the game.
Yeah, Bognor Groves have a fifth. It's Neil Martinuke from the penalty spot in the 91st minute. 5-1 up against Elgin City. So what's happening through at the Tony Macaroni, Stephen Craigan? Real drama through there.
Yeah, Livingston have got a little lift from the disallowed goal, funny enough. You know, there's energy in the stands, there's energy on the pitch. Both clubs have made substitutions as Livingston come down the right-hand side, but certainly the game's improved, the tempo's gone up a little bit, but still, you know, looking for that elusive breakthrough. We thought we had it with Bruce Anderson, but, you know, I'm not too sure. Just when it happened in real time, I thought he looked as if he was away slightly early, but sometimes that can be misjudged. But obviously VAR had a look, put the lines on and decided it was ruled out. So I don't think anyone's really done enough to win the game, although I'm sure both managers wouldn't care if they've done enough to win the game. They just want to win the game and find a way through. So with what I think we have about 10 minutes left plus added time, then there's still plenty of time left to get a winner.
Dundee, good value for their lead there in McDermott, Willie.
Yes, they are. St Johnstone came back into it. I think the substitutions have made a bit of a difference. They've shown a greater hunger, and they're certainly showing a little bit more quality, but not enough. They've got that goal back, which gives them hope. But Dundee, you know, with the 2-1 of a lead, although I'm just waiting to be interrupted by someone.
It's been a goal yet again at Starks Park. This is sensational. It's Louis Vaughan. It's 3-2 Raith Rovers. You can't say that they don't deserve it. They never ever seem to do things the easy way. They start season so strong time after time, and then they always sort of seem to fall away. It was worryingly appearing that might happen again this afternoon, but the substitute, as I say, the homegrown player, they love him here. He's ran the length of the park to go and celebrate with the fans. It's a bit of a melee no matter what. The ball's ended up in the back of the net, and that is all that Ian Murray Murray and his sides will care about. Starks Park is back bouncing 3-2 Ray.
Yeah, could be a big goal
and
there.
Full time here, Kenny, at Capello. It's a big win for Partick Thistle. 4 goals to 1. It was Morton ahead with a Muirhead sizzling free kick. Lawless with the equaliser. A double from Brian Graham in the second half. And then that fourth from Tommy Adeloy, the substitute, made a convincing win for Thistle. Just one black mark for them. It was a red card for getting sent off late in the game was Harry Milne. So it's Thistle take all 3 points. They go to celebrate with the fans, the wee double and end at Capello. Big win for them, keeps them in the playoff place. Disappointment for Morden. Thistle win this by 4 goals to 1.
7 minutes added on at Rugby Park. Full time in Inverness, Cali Thistle 1, Dunfermline 1.
Thank you to Ian Auld there in that game. Cali Thistle were ahead through Nathan Shaw on 12 minutes. Chris Hamilton with the equaliser on 80 minutes. That Lewis Vaughan goal coming through in the 94th minute. It looks like being the winner there. What are we seeing from Kilmarnock? Would they have every right to feel hard done by if they don't do something in this game, Rory?
Robbed, absolutely robbed. And I said at half time, you've got to call a spade a spade.
Full time at Starks Park.
Thank you.
A ridiculous decision, ridiculous. Basic refereeing. Let it play out and then give the decision afterwards. If it's a goal, the goal stands. If it's not a goal, you give the penalty. Basic stuff. Absolutely robbed if they don't get an equaliser here. And that's no slight on Ross County. It's just that particular incident was so poorly refereed, and it should have been a goal.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, don't forget, Denham McInnes was really hard done by last season by VAR with Andy Considine handball. They never got that one.
That's the worst of the lot, that.
Yeah, that was an absolute shocker. Full-time score lines coming through. Kelty Hearts 1, Annan Athletic 1, Queen of the South 2, Montrose 3. Montrose were 2-0 up early on. Queen's fought back to 2-2, but Montrose leave with the points. Clyde 0, Forfar Athletic 0, Edinburgh City 0, Falkirk to the Bears in a decent run of form. Alloa Athletic 1, Cove Rangers 0. Brentford have equalised late on. Brian Mbeumo in the 93rd minute. That is at home to our Bournemouth. Arbroath have beaten Ayr United by 2 goals to 1. Still we play on at Rugby Park. Still we play on at McDermott Park. And still Stephen Craig would play on through there at the Tony Macaroni.
Absolutely, and I think if someone could get a winner, Kenny, it would be a huge 3 points for them. Livingston obviously trying to back up that terrific win last weekend at Easter Road, and St Mirren trying to go clear at the top. I think even a point today they go top of the table until tomorrow, but I think just psychologically, if they could find a way to win this game, and both teams are so evenly matched, it would give them a huge boost, particularly with the 2-week break coming in the international window. Both sides certainly would enjoy a bit of downtime, so there's plenty of time left. There's time to get a winner, but it's just going to have to be to see who can produce that little bit of quality, because I have to say both defences have been strong.
Yeah, they're sitting top of the live table, that's for sure. 8 points. Celtic,
it's an equaliser. It's an equaliser for St Johnstone. Unbelievable. The ball going to the back post, and it struck right across the face of the goal, and someone sneaked in at the near post or the back post and finished it.
Is it?
Kucheravi again.
Possibly.
I think it is. Yeah, he is the one that's getting all the cuddles down there. He comes in from the right hand side, slides in, and the ball rifled into the back of the net to give the most unlikely score here at McDermott of St Johnstone 2, Dundee 2.
That's a big comeback, isn't it? We'll hopefully get a better look at it, Willie. Don't know if there'll be any question marks over it possibly being offside. I just thought it looked quite deep inside the 6-yard box as the ball came across, but there possibly was another defender on the opposite side that's just as deep.
Yeah, and it was driven across the face as well, wasn't it?
Well out of it, yeah.
Yeah, from the left-hand side, the ball coming from the right to the left and then drilled across the face of the goal, and he comes in.
Yeah, deep cross comes back in, the flick on. I think he's offside, Willie.
Is he? Oh.
It's tight though, I could be wrong. I was just going to come to Craggs a second ago to say I got another look at the Bruce Anderson one, and he was a half-yard off. Just when you see it from a different angle, it was more clear than it was for the angle that we had initially seen it from, that did indicate it could have been onside. So this is going to be really tight again.
Yeah, they're holding their breath here, that's for sure, the St Johnstone supporters, and Stephen McLean as well, because that would be some turnaround if they get anything out of this game. It's a goal. It's a goal. It stands. He's pointed to the spot, so the fans and Stephen McLean will be relieved. And this final whistle, last touch of the ball,
has arrived at Livingston. Livingston, and you can tell by the noise in the main stand, it's gone to the home side, and it's DeLucas who's eventually tapped it in. There's a free kick wide in the right hand side, right deep into the back post. It's young Lewis Jemison who's on as a substitute. He gets caught at the back post, doesn't match it on the ball, fizzed across the box, and there's DeLucas to tap into the net, and Livingston look like they're on their way to a big 3 points.
Yeah, big 3 points, right enough. Craig, it's a good fin. He gets himself into a good area to look at. He won't score an easier goal than that. Certainly just walked it into the net almost. Willie, I was going to come to you just to say the game that you're at went 2-1, and I looked at the substitutions that Tony Docherty made. He made a double change. He took off Bakayoko and Scott Tiffany at the same time, and I was actually going to ask you what you thought about it at the time, but there was a conversation going on. Is that put Dundee in the back foot? Because they looked like they were causing real problems.
I think it did, and I've watched that kind of a move from the pairing of Derek McInnes and Tony Dock up at Aberdeen on many occasions where, you know, the game looked as though it was won, and you make kind of a more defensive minded substitutions, and these two were impressive players, particularly Tiffany. Tiffany was outstanding for
I know
the time
Zach Rudden came on, and effectively you've still put a striker on the pitch, but I just thought Bakayoko was causing all sorts of problems, and I think when you're St Johnstone and you understand the pace and the attributes that he had, he was coming short, he was linking the game. He had that opportunity that the goalkeeper's made the brilliant save where he's kind of came and linked the game, he's went in behind. I'm not sure you get that same fluidity from Rudden. I think he's more predictable than that.
I think you get running for Rudden, and I think that's why the change was made, maybe to get him to run in behind and get them up the park, but it certainly didn't work, that's for sure. So I think Tony Dock will be looking back on the substitutions that he made and maybe thinking, were they right? And probably they weren't. Stephen McLean, I mean, they get out of jail here because they were never in it up until, well, he made the substitutions as well, and it seemed to give them a bit more energy. So it was a combination of maybe negative thinking from Tony and positive thinking from Stephen, and that's turned the game round with the last kick, the absolute last kick of the ball to give St Johnstone a draw.
Yeah, that goal coming in the 96th minute. Dumbarton have beaten East Fife by 1-0. Burnley have scored a second goal, but it's immaterial. They're trailing Spurs by 5-2. Full-time scoreline: Stirling Albion 2, Hamilton Accies 2. Stenhousemuir have scored in the 97th minute away to Spartan. Stranraer 2, Peterhead 1. Jason Brown.
All over at Rugby Park, Kenny, and it finishes Kilmarnock 0, Ross County 1. However, it will be the story of the goal that never was and should have stood for Kilmarnock. Terrible mistake by referee Kevin Clancy. Players are going over to him now, as you would expect. On the balance of play, I think a draw would have been fair. Kilmarnock had loads of corners, however Ross County had their moments in the game as well. I think it was two evenly matched teams, and a draw would have been fair, as Derek McInnes rolls his sleeves up and makes his way towards the officials on the pitch. Yeah, he had to say plenty of times. He spoke about the Andy Considine handball. There was, of course, the penalty shout they had late on in the Cup semi-final at Hampden against Celtic. So very interesting to hear from the Kilmarnock manager. We'll do just that on Sports Run between now and 7 o'clock. Stranraer 2, Peterhead 1. Jason Brown in the 97th minute, pulling a goal back there for Dumbarton. Stranraer, there's 2-1. Stranraer are leading them there. St Johnstone 2, Dundee 2. Late drama, 96th minute. That goal coming in. Brentford 2, Bournemouth 2. Again, a late equaliser for the home side in that one. Just confirmation coming through of full-time scorelines. Kilmarnock 0, Ross County 1. Haaland has a hat-trick for Manchester City. They are leading Fulham by 5-1, and that is you right up to date with all the latest scorelines. Still playing Livingston against St Mirren. Stephen Craigan.
Yeah, we are, Kenny. We're about 3.5 minutes left, and I did say at half-time it felt as if there was a goal in the game. It would probably be the only one, because it's a really difficult pitch to chase the game on. It's slow, it's bobbly, it's bouncy, and if you're the team that's just defending, all you'll do when it comes to you is just keep clearing your lines, keep putting the ball back in the opposition's half. That's exactly what Livingston are doing. So Mirren have to try and come up with something in the next 3 minutes to try and get a point. If it stays this way, Davy Martindale will be absolutely delighted with the 3 points. First home goal of the season as well, so it's looking like a good afternoon for the Livy Lions.
It certainly is, on the back of that terrific result and performance at Easter Road last weekend. So they're still playing on. They're still playing in your game at Tannadice there at Ferguson.
Yeah, been a bit of a struggle we've got to see in the second half. for Dundee United. Jim Goodwin certainly not happy in the sidelines, but from an Airdrie point of view, they played well. You know, they've a little bit more zest about them. They've pushed, they've got closer to United, made them feel uncomfortable, and United have looked uncomfortable, and Airdrie had a couple of opportunities, Kenny, Stravik, and I think it was Ballantyne. As I says, it was, I think it was I don't know if it was Hancock. I thought that it had the shot, but no, Airdrie have been good in the second half, but it looks as if United will just kind of scrape through, but certainly some of the support at the moment not too happy. It remains at the moment Dundee United 1, Airdrie 0 as we get into the closing stages.
That late goal for Dennis Muir has given them a 1-0 victory away at Spartans. Stranraer have beaten Peterhead by 2-1. Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 1. A big shock down there in England. The 5:30 kickoff this evening is Brighton against Newcastle United. That should be some game. It should be some end to sports on this evening. We're with you right through until 7 o'clock. All the post-match reaction. Lots of fans due to come on the programme. And the Motherwell manager, Stuart Kettlewell, choosing the music for us this evening. So stay tuned for that. We await more full times coming in. Still playing at the Tony Macaroni. Still playing at Tannadice. In the Premiership so far today, Kilmarnock 0, Ross County 1. Simon Murray with a goal on 53 minutes. But real drama there. Kilmarnock had the ball in the net, but just before it hit the back of the net, the referee Kevin Clancy blew for a spot kick, and Danny Armstrong's spot kick was saved by the Ross County goalkeeper.
Okay, we've got an equaliser. Oh, the St Mirren bench are jumping up and down. Stephen Robinson out of his technical area. So, but, you know, very similar actually to the Livingston goal. Only the free kick this time came in the left-hand side. A long diagonal ball to the back post. The first header was cleared, it dropped down again, ran straight and stood it up to the back post. Alex Gogitson heads it back into the middle of the 6-yard box, and I don't actually know who got the final touch. I don't know if it was Alex Grieve or Lewis Jemison, but one of them has got the final touch. Stephen Robinson couldn't care, St Mirren fans couldn't care, and it's 1-1. I'm just looking up the screen. I've just seen my wee fella on that St Mirren support. Thank goodness he's behaving himself. He was celebrating, but he was behaving himself. That's good on him. Yeah, listen, they've got a great away support. They've been travelling in big numbers, and my goodness, that is a big goal late on, Leanne. Oh, it is huge. Yeah, bodies in there. They just make it difficult. They force Livingston to defend. Ryan Strain puts it back into that danger area. Gogic keeps it alive. And who gets the final touch, Leanne? Is it Nemani? Or was it Nakmani? Yeah, look, I think it was. Nakmani, was it? It's just there was so many bodies around it and it's the opposite end of the picture where we're situated, so it was hard to see. Alex Grieve has kind of pinned Oberlai and just opened up the space for him just to nick in and get the final touch. Big goal. Yeah, big goal. Late goal. A late goal. Every week that's happening now. We used to finish by 5 o'clock, we'd take the news, then we'd round up. That is a thing of the past, no doubt about that. That will, of course, take St Mirren top of the table once again. We will have the news for you on BBC at Radio Scotland just as soon as these two games are finished. Still playing, Derek Ferguson? Yeah, I think my chances of seeing an Italian game tonight are certainly gone. I'm not going to see that game, but no, it's been an intriguing game, Kenny, because I certainly thought United in that first half were just going to run away with it. You know, they've hit the woodwork twice, they got the early goal, but strangely in the second half they started to sit off. Airdrie gave Airdrie confidence, they started to probe, create a few chances. Didn't take them, unfortunately enough, but I'm not sure how long we've got. Full time, Kenny, 1-1. Must be only a couple of minutes or so, Kenny, but you know, Airdrie have been far better in the second half, but I think Jim still got a little bit of work to do with this side, you know, to create a whole 90 minutes. You know, the first 45 minutes was good, but second half, they've got work to do. Yeah, that 96th minute equaliser for St Mirren there. It was also a 96th minute equaliser for St Johnstone against Indy Lewis. Oh, there's a chance. The keeper's a way out. Can you? Yes, you can. It's brilliant, by the way. Substitute. Well, let me have a look. It's Kai Fotheringham. The keeper, he's been joining in about 45 yards out. This time he takes a bad touch. Fotheringham's onto it. It's just low and hard, just curls it into the back of it. Beautiful. Sometimes a lot of players miss him, Kenny. You know, he just had to keep his concentration, keep his focus, put his foot through the ball. Did it ever so well. So United take the full 3 points.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a struggle in the second half after early Cujo goal. That was on 4 minutes, but the title favourites will take the points. 94th minute. That second goal for United coming from Kai Fotheringham there. Just a reminder, Livingston 1, St Mirren 1. A 96th minute equaliser from Stav Namani in that game. That after Bruce Anderson, 76, had given Livy the lead. A real drama, real late show at McDermott Park. Scott Tiffany on 35. Ricky Lamy on 58 had Dundee 2-0 up. Max Kucheravi with a late double. 82 and 96 minutes, and real drama at Rugby Park this afternoon. Simon Murray with a goal in 53 minutes, but that only tells half the story. Derek McInnes will be livid. We could see that on the full-time whistles. He approached the match officials. They had the ball in the back of the net, but the referee blew up just a split second before to award a penalty kick, and that was saved. Danny Armstrong effort was saved. They're still playing there, but the point surely staying with the home side, Derek.
Yeah, it's been as I say, it's been an intriguing game to see United, sit back strangely, but that was a mistake. That was just a long ball. The keeper, I don't know what he's doing away out there, to be honest with you. I get that, to make an extra man in there, that's time up, Kenny, but it was a good finish from Fotheringham, because I said earlier, a lot of people panicked in that situation. Fotheringham didn't, just kept his head, kept his focus, and gave United all 3 points.
And just finally from yourself, Derek, off home to watch the boys. Did you get the Bologna game? Can you see that anywhere?
Yeah, watch them all the time. I watch a lot of Italian football now, but his kick-offs in it's in 15 minutes or something. So I don't think I'm going to be seeing it tonight. But
you saw a special goal from him last week against Juve, didn't you?
Oh, it was that was a good goal. I enjoyed his performance. The goal is icing on the cake, Kenny, as we know, but it was his overall performance in the game. He's starting to look like a leader in that side, which I think is quite important.
Yeah, it's great to see the Scots doing well abroad. He will, of course, join up with his national teammates Scotland in action this coming Friday evening. Full coverage on Sports, and stay tuned. We're with you right through until 7 o'clock this evening. We're back after the BBC Radio Scotland news at 9 minutes past 5.
On digital radio.